Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. We are here today to gather to celebrate, maybe, for such amazing banners coming in 3.4, as well as to maybe discuss a little bit about priorities and what characters people likely will go for, what type of upgrades, because I see it, right? People are building vertically now. A lot of people are building vertically. So it's not that people refuse to build vertically, it's more so that people didn't have a need for weaker characters. It's kind of like people didn't want to build upon mid or lower tier characters. But once these top tier characters come around, immediately people flock to it and it was like, okay, how am I going to make my Hutao better? How am I going to make my Yelan better? How am I going to just make my account much better by making these characters better? So today we're going to be talking about the nuances between C0 Hutao free-to-play weapon, C1 Hutao free-to-play weapon, C0 Yelan free-to-play weapon, C1 Yelan free-to-play weapon versus C1 Hutao with Staff Homa, C1 Yelan with Aqua Simulacra. All the nuances, okay? I personally do not have C1 Yelan, but I did play her extensively at C1 on a viewer's account, and at the time I made comparisons, so we'll go over exactly what I think as opposed to now playing the game for an extended period of time without a C1 Yelan. How does everything hold up, right? So all of this, I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting to switch scenes when I start talking. Sorry, everybody. So yeah, welcome. It honestly feels like what? I honestly feel like it was just this morning we were sitting here together doing the live stream, but it was like it's over 24 hours ago. But yeah. Let's do a quick, easy poll. Type 1 in chat if you're polling for Hutao. Type 2 if you're polling for Yelan, and type 3 if you are skipping both. I want to see what people are going for first and foremost. Don't worry about the weapon banners. We'll talk about the weapons maybe on another stream. We'll lightly touch on them today, but we won't really go into detail about them. EroticWalruss do a poll. I'm too lazy. Like, this is easy enough, and it's, let's take a look. So most, I think Yelan and skipping are quite, yeah, 2 is Yelan. Yelan and skipping are kind of equal with each other. Hutao, not so much. Hutao, not so much. I did get a message today in Discord with somebody asking me for specific advice. Let's see. Right, so this person is asking, they're planning to wish for Staff of Homa and Aqua Simulacra both, right? So after summoning both, they're planning to go for C1 Yelan for better ER because they already have a Hutao Yelan both at C0. But right now they're not sure if they want C1 Yelan or Hutao. And they're also a very heavy Electro user, already got Engulfing Lightning on Raiden C2, so I don't think... so they say they're not going to need Raiden C3, so they're going to skip C3 for maybe a rerun. Currently they got Hutao on the deathmatch, and then they got Yelan with Stringless. So yeah, it seems like the weapons are a guarantee for this player, but now they're just wondering with weapons, which one are they going to continue pulling for? So thank you guys so much for contributing to the poll here for Hutao and Yelan and skipping. So it seems like Yelan is definitely the more popular choice, and that is a sound approach for most people. So here's the thing, right? I don't think we need to dwell too much on C0 for these characters because when it comes to C0, Hutao, and Yelan, I think, in my opinion, they are much further apart because Yelan, going from not having a Yelan to having a Yelan, and going from having a Yelan to C1 Yelan, the difference is much more apparent from not having a Yelan to a Yelan. Do you guys, am I making any sense? Right? What I'm trying to highlight is the fact that you got a Yelan at C0, even if it's a C0 free-to-play Yelan, that difference is bigger than if you had a C0 Yelan and take her from C0 to C1. In my opinion, the difference of not having Yelan to having a Yelan is bigger than having a C0 Yelan to having a C1 Yelan. Can we agree on that? Right? Does that make sense? Or do I need to explain this some other way? Because right now, because when we talk about the value of C1, we first have to evaluate this metric, okay? And now we go to Hutao. Not having a Hutao to having a C0 Hutao, in my opinion, is not as game-changing for a character, for a player, as not having a Yelan to having a Yelan, okay? So with that out of the way, by that definition, in my opinion, a C0 Yelan is much better than simply having a C0 Hutao. Okay, so that's the baseline of this. So that's why I think Hutao, it's also because, here's a key difference. It's also because Hutao is a DPS character. DPS characters in Genshin by default are just not that useful. If we go look at the character archives, look, DPS character. Is this a DPS? Probably not. Okay, so DPS character, 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 DPS, DPS, support DPS. So actually, I think we just found a pattern. They release 2 DPS characters, and then they release like an off-field support character. Look, 2 DPS, off-field support. 2 DPS, off-field support. Okay, I guess this is 1 DPS, and then like a healer. 2 DPS, 3 DPS, off-field support. Is Daehik gonna be an off-field support? Wait, I don't know. Anyways, that's off topic. But my point is, there's a lot of on-field DPS units in the game, meaning that by that metric, Hutao loses a bit of value. Yes, she is one of the best available in the game, but then again, when you have them all fully invested, it's not like it's not a night and day difference. Yes, there is a difference, but it's not like it's, irreplaceable, right? Make sense? But when it comes to characters like Yelan, Nahida, Neilu, right? These off-field like Shenhe, Kokomi, Kazuha. Have you guys realized all these off-field characters are almost irreplaceable? Almost, right? There are 4-star alternatives to a lot of them. Some better than others in terms, for example, like Yelan's alternative is Xingqiu, which is super, super great. And it's much better than, let's say, Kazuha's alternative with their Sucrose. It's still usable, but most people would prefer Kazuha, whereas Yelan and Xingqiu kind of is like a shoulder to shoulder, whereas Kazuha is tiers above Sucrose. Stuff like that, okay? So by that metric, Hutao is just not as valuable as a character. So, and this is important. Why am I focusing on this? Because this is very important for us going forward to talking about how to scale these characters up and when you invest into these characters. Because there is an argument to be made, which is non-meta influenced argument, okay? Because I think a lot of people, listen. A lot of people have a problem when it comes to going after what they want if they know the meta is against it. So meaning, meta-wise, you should be going for something else, but they love this character, and even though they love it, they still need like somebody or someone to tell them it's okay to go for it, because that one is not needed, right? So Favka is asking, Warruss, what do you think does more single target DPS, C0R1 Yelan or C0R1 Yoimiya? Take a guess. Single target DPS. I feel like that's a trick question, man. If you're asking me that, then it's a trick question. Because normally people would answer Yoimiya, but because you're asking me that, it's Yelan. But you see, when you say single target, do you mean Yelan just hitting one enemy? Or you're talking about Yelan's elemental skill, which can deal up to like 100k damage per enemy hit. So Moonlight says, Walrus, your Hutao is 444, means death. Wow, somebody, you guys catch on to this stuff so quickly. That's right, my Hutao's HP is indeed sitting at 444. And that's the default HP I have her sitting at normally when I'm just chilling with her. So, to answer your question, Favka, I'm gonna guess Yelan because it just seems like a trick question. And, you know, it wouldn't be surprising if it is Yelan. Here's the thing with Yelan, people. It's pretty crazy because her elemental skill can deal like an insane amount of damage. And it's per enemy hit. Let's say if you string 5-6 enemies, that is per hit. Let's say if you do 100k per enemy and then you string like 5 enemies together, that is 500k instant damage. It's right. It's not even crazy difficult to build it to that extent. Yelan's speedruns are insane. Yeah, she's like the premier speedrun unit now. If you watch any speedrun, it used to be like Ganyu was such a great speedrunning character. Ganyu and Raiden Shogun were just like dominating the speedrun meta for a while. It's insane what those speedrunners were doing with Raiden and Ganyu. But nowadays, Yelan is just... Yelan was made to please whales. It's because Yelan, in terms of damage, just power creeps a lot of even on-field dedicated DPS characters that it makes you wonder what HoYoverse was really thinking going after making Yelan so good. But if you really deep down think about it, it's probably just whale bait. Give speedrunners something to pull and invest into, and that's pretty much it. No need to really overthink it. Hutao is also insane for speedruns. Yeah, but then you have to have like what, C6 Hutao fishing for that not fishing, but like you need to have C6 Hutao to really justify her speedruns. And you have like no crit rate because C6 gives you max crit rate, right? And then you go for like 300 plus crit damage or even higher than that. It's a pretty difficult thing to set up, and it's, in my opinion, it's kind of annoying, but yeah, it works. I would just go for C6 on you, to be honest with you. If I could choose C6 characters for speedruns, I would choose C6 Yelan, probably C6 Ganyu. Stuff like that. Something like that. So, moving on to C1. This is where I think the biggest thing that people are talking about is, okay, like, let's talk about Yelan C1 and Hutao C1. The thing is, okay, a lot of people are saying Yelan C1 is like just insane. They're like, this C1 solves so many of her problems. It opens up new builds for her. It allows her to deal, like, essentially almost doubling her efficiency, right? Because so much is riding on her elemental skill, mobility, energy regen, burst, like instant burst damage, to the point where it's like she feels liberated. Right? That's what people are saying. And a lot of people are calling me out saying, Walrus, why are you underselling her C1 when it's such a life-changing constellation for Yelan? And my answer to that is, I'm not trying to backpedal or defend myself. I'm simply making a statement saying that, to me, the value of Yelan has been served once I got a C0 copy of her. The main value for me when it comes to Yelan is not how much damage she does, because to me, I never lack damage. Damage has never been something I lack in any of my builds. In fact, a lot of people give me like a ton of crap saying like, Walrus, why is your Yelan sitting at level 80? And here's another kicker for people who haven't been pissed off just having my Yelan sitting at level 80. Look at her weapon. I have her weapon sitting at level 70 and I don't need to push it anymore. And I probably won't until I really feel like I need that power. Why? Because I don't need it. I don't need her to do damage. Like, damage is not a problem at all whatsoever in my account. What I need in my account is versatility, like great application, consistency. Right now, I have her paired with Xingqiu. Yes, that is kind of cheating because my Xingqiu runs a sack sword and he generates a ton of particles, which in turn solves Yelan's energy issue. That's why I can get away with running Aqua Simulacra, because she's paired with Xingqiu and Xingqiu generates a ton of particles, and my Zhongli runs the Favonius Lance. So yeah, she has 0 energy problems. Her ER is sitting at 140, 45, 206, right? Not an impressive Yelan by any stretch of the imagination. Not impressive. Wait, what the fuck? Whew. Sorry. Let's just 45 to 26.8. Like, still not that impressive. I think like crazy Yelans are like 65 to like 250 or something like that, right? Some crazy crap like that. But this Yelan is already so damn powerful that personally I don't feel like she needs any more. But it's not indicative of how most people would play Yelan. While I would think Yelan sitting in a Hutao team is very powerful, Yelan is also incredibly strong as an alternative to, let's say, a national team. Let's say right now you're playing a Hutao team and you're playing a national team. You cannot spare both Xingqiu and Yelan on your Hutao team. So what would you do is probably drop either Yelan or Xingqiu and put one of them into the national team. And if you have Raiden, then Raiden national. And if you are pairing Yelan in a Raiden national team, she also doesn't need additional particles because her burst comes back after Raiden Shogun does her thing, right? So these two teams are already taken care of if you were to run Yelan. The only time when people start saying like, well, Yelan have severe energy issues if you don't have C1, and it forces you to run energy regen 4-star weapons, which limits her damage output. I get that. Trust me, I understand. But the thing is, then you're starting to look at electro charge teams. You're starting to look at I'm not gonna say off meta, but it's just like not oh my god, I feel like I've dug myself into a hole here, because no matter what I say next, people are gonna be like, "Well, Walrus, no," because I don't look at theory crafting, right? So I don't know what theory crafters have said when it comes to Yelan. But in my opinion, I think Yelan works in all Hydro teams. But for example, if you want to run her in a freeze team, sure, go ahead. Like, nobody's saying you cannot. I would imagine running her with like an Ayaka in a freeze team isn't the worst thing in the world, right? And then like, yeah, in those cases you would start realizing, oh, I have some energy issues, because even if you run her with someone like a Kokomi, it's not going to solve that problem for you. So I can see it in that. But if you're running in electro charge teams, I can also see you having some energy issues with that. So that's when I think C1 feels justified. Like, I know I'm kind of all over the place with this, but it's because, let's say if you're running Yelan in a double Hydro team with a Hutao, you will never have energy issues, ever. If you're running Yelan in a Raiden national team as a substitute to Xingqiu, because Xingqiu is sitting in your Hutao team, she's not going to have energy issues. It's only when you take her out of these certain compositions and you play her in like a Yelan freeze team, Yelan electro charge team, maybe even Yelan hyper bloom team, spread team, or like as a support DPS, you might start seeing some issues, right? But when I run my Yelan in a Raiden hyper bloom team, she also has no problems because when she's paired with Raiden Shogun, she has no problems. So it's like, it really depends on why you're pulling Yelan. Okay? It's like, why are you pulling Yelan? Are you pulling Yelan to just play for Hutao? Are you pulling Yelan to play as an alternative Hydro applicator on your national teams, which is a very, very strong team. Super, super strong. If you are doing these things, C1 Yelan isn't as important as if you're running Yelan on Electro Charge, Hyper Bloom, stuff like that, right? Like Bloom teams. It really, really depends on what you're doing with her. I'd never meant to undersell the value of Yelan C1, and Fafka is saying you spend 95% of the time in the overworld traversing, and that C1 Yelan makes traversing the overworld much easier. Yeah, but the thing is, once you unlock these waypoints, so it's like it's really only the first time. Like, for example, if I want to go from here to, like, let's say to the dunes of Kar, I'm not gonna run all the way here. I'm gonna go from here. I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna TP, and it's just that distance. So you tell me, is it justified to say I'm gonna pull a constellation to make this distance easier, right? The same thing. Like, these waypoints are set up in a way where it's, I find myself having vertical issues in Genshin Impact than I have like horizontal issues when it comes to traveling. Okay, that's like, for example, you're like you're standing at a cliff and you need to get up to the top of that cliff, and there's a waypoint up there, but you realize you came to the wrong side and you don't want to like circle all the way around. I wish I could just like find a way to just scale up vertically. Although they even have like quality of life things, the teleporting thing in Sumeru that they have, these buds that you just connect yourself to, that solves a lot of these issues, right? But have I tried to explore the desert? C1 Yelan is so helpful. Like, you mean this area? Like, if you need to go in this area, right? I mean, like, yeah, I've walked here, but okay, it's not fair for me because I always have like a TV show open on the side. So to me, I'm just holding down the W key and I'm like watching a TV show like this. I'm just like watching. Like that. So, I mean, I guess it saves you some time when it comes to these open. For example, if you need to go here, teleporting here, and running over. But again, is it really justified to say I'm going to get a constellation on a character to make long distance horizontal travel, unobstructed long distance travel more viable? It's definitely a plus. I mean, I don't mean to say, oh, it doesn't matter. Of course it matters, but how valuable can that be on a scale of 1 to 10? What's the number of, like, what's the value when it comes to importance? How important is it? Right? So I think there's more credit to give in terms of damage and energy regen as opposed to overworld. Sure, we spend most of our time in the overworld, but it's only really the first run through that you are going to be like, oh, okay. And it's not like her elemental skill cooldown is incredibly long. It's like a 10-second cooldown, right? So after using it once, waiting 10 seconds, I can use it again. So it's like, it's not something that, and I have played with the C1 Yelan. I played with the C1 Yelan with like 7 different teams. We were testing extensively. I was running around with it. I never really noticed like this. Yes, this is, look at that. Not, oh, wow, what an incredible ability. And then you can use it immediately again. So like the distance you can cover, yes, it's massive. It's huge. But personally, I haven't felt like I was wishing that I had more. But what I will tell you is when I was playing on a viewer's account on a C0 Hutao, especially that, like, in combat, I sometimes really wish that I had a C1. I think Hutao C1 is a great constellation to get if you are a Hutao enthusiast, okay? If you're not seeing yourself playing Hutao all the time, I wouldn't suggest you even go for her. I think if you get a C0 Hutao, you should be looking to play her more, because even at C0, you need to animation cancel. Like I said in my video, if you don't like animation canceling, if you don't like playing this type of playstyle for characters, you should just skip this character altogether. If you're going for a C0 Hutao, it probably means, like, at the very least, you want to master her playstyle. And when I say master, don't let that intimidate you. There's really nothing, like, complex about this character. There really isn't anything complex about this character. It truly just is learning. It's like a rhythm. It's a rhythm. But if you mess up her animation cancel, oh my goodness, do you feel stupid? Yes, have I accidentally canceled like 3 of her charge attacks and have to restart an entire abyss chamber? Of course I have. Because You know, I play this character so much, but then it's just like sometimes because I know what's coming up next, I'm too hasty. So this character definitely isn't a plug and play. Hutao is not a plug and play character. I repeat, she is not a plug and play character. There is actually nuances to this character that just makes a lot of people not want to play her. But I swear, it's not like there's a high risk, high reward. I mean, there is a high risk, but the risk isn't the reason for the reward. Look at my HP. Chat, look at my HP. This is like, you gotta be comfortable playing with no HP for this character. And another thing for Hutao, if you pull this character and you don't have like an insane shielder built up, you are going to have a very, very bad time playing her. Because the way shields work in this game, you don't know how much HP the shield has, okay? If you not... Cool. If you never played extensively with a shielder in Genshin Impact, picking up Hutao and playing with a shielder, you are going to struggle. I'm telling you this right now. You are going to have your Hutao sitting at 100 HP, doing her charge attacks. You're like, wow, woo, 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 wee, woo, oh, and she just dies because your shield broke and you didn't notice it. Right? That's what I'm talking about. If you don't have a reliable shielder to work around for your Hutao team, your Hutao will die. She will die over and over and over again. This is when people get really frustrated playing Hutao. They get really frustrated because it's just like it gives you anxiety. It actually gives you anxiety playing her. I remember when I first played Hutao, when I first picked her up for the first like couple days, even up to a week, I just constantly dying because I was over reliant on Zhongli's shield, and at the time I wasn't really paying attention to Zhongli's shield very much because I've never had to. I never had a character who couldn't at least take like 1 or 2 hits, but my Hutao was constantly hovering around 20 to 30% health, and in Abyss 12, if you take 1 hit to the face at 20% health, you die. Okay? You die. So I was really frustrated. I was like, damn, this character sucks. It's like, but it wasn't the character that sucked. It was indeed Walrus, who sucked. Fast forward to now, I'm much, much, much more in tune with Zhongli's shield. I know almost down to the T exactly how many hits this shield can endure when I need to rotate. I don't think I've ever had a character die with Zhongli's shield. It actually made me learn the game more because then now I have to like understand how much this shield can last. And also in my head, if after 20 seconds has passed, I know that the shield is about to expire and it's time to reshield. It's stuff like this that people never talk about. People always talk about DPS potentials, DPS potentials, DPS potentials, but you don't talk about the drawbacks of playing these characters. The thing with Yelan, a lot of people would run into problems with is yes, like if you're playing double hydro teams with with the battery, like what am I talking about? Favonius weapon user, Yelan can feel very inadequate at C0 because you can never get her burst back on time to keep up with the rotations of your characters. Remember, she is paired with a lot of units in the game who runs on timers that are like 10 seconds or less. Right, she can be Hutao's buddy. She can be Yoimiya's buddy. Both of these characters are running on a very short timer, meaning that you need Yelan's burst back fast. And I'm talking about like really, really fast. You need to get it back within 8 to 10 seconds, to be honest with you guys. So of course, people are gonna feel like she's bottlenecking. If people knows the term, bottlenecking is when everything in your system, like in your arranged system, works well except one component, and that component becomes the sole limiting factor, becomes the ceiling for your entire system. Let's say you have like, I don't know if this is a good example, but let's say if you have very strong legs, you have a great bone density, you're very athletic, you are like, I can't keep going. Should I keep going? Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Screw it. I have to commit to this. I have to commit to this. Let's say you're a very athletic person, right? You're a very athletic person. You have great athletic genes. Both your parents are like Olympic level athletes. You know, you know everything about the physiology. You know, like running mechanics and everything. You got everything down to a T. But you're in a wheelchair. You're bottlenecked. That's what bottlenecking is, right? Like it doesn't matter how good your respiratory system is. It doesn't matter how like insane of an athletic gene you have. You are bottlenecked. That's bottlenecking, right? Your entire potential is limited by one factor. That's kind of like Yelan if you don't have enough ER. That is not a bottleneck that is tried, but I had to use an extreme example to get people to understand what bottlenecking is. It's basically one factor that completely stops, like it makes everything else irrelevant. It makes everything else irrelevant in your system. So it's like if your Yelan cannot keep up with your Hutao, with your Yoimiya, with your Electro unit, with your Dendro unit, if she cannot keep up her burst, because that's where the passive Hydro application comes from, right? If she can't use her burst on cooldown, you lose out on, like, why is she even on the team? Right? If you're charge attacking with Hutao and your Yelan doesn't like synchro, or like or you're losing out on like 60% of the damage. 60% of the damage just doesn't exist. You're dealing probably like 20k per charge attack, compared to you could be doing like 80,000, which is like 70% of the damage. Probably even more than that, because Yelan also deal damage. Like her burst skill also is accompanying your attacks. So on top of the fact you're missing out on the vape reaction, you're also missing out on Yelan's attack. So you're probably missing out on close to 80% of your damage. Like, think about that. Because your Yelan is not able to synchro enough with your on-field carries. It's the same for Electro carry, Dendro carry, all carries. If Yelan can't use her burst, she is dead weight. She is absolutely dead weight. Who is Aqua good on? Aqua can be good on a decent amount of characters. I would like to think that Fisho is probably a pretty decent user for it. Yeah, Ganyu is a good user for it. If you have Yoimiya, I would imagine even Yoimiya is a good. Like, think of Aqua like the Staff of Homa, but for bow users. Like, all bow DPS users love this bow. Yeah, Aqua is literally just Staff of Homa, but the bow version. Even their description is very similar. So, look, it's a crit damage passive stat, and then HP is increased. So let's take a look at this. Crit damage passive stat, HP is increased. So both of these weapons are like mirror copies of each other. That's why, like, this is such a good, just at the worst case scenario, it's like one of the best stat sticks in the game. Like, just using it for the stat is already good, but it has a passive, like here, passive skill that is just so universal. Like, oh, when there are opponents nearby, the damage dealt by the wielder of this weapon is just increased by 20%. What? Oh, no, like, conditions. You don't have to, like, spin in a circle 3 times, you know, like, have your foot behind your head. There's no essay, there's no complexity. Yeah, oh, there's opponents near you? Here's 20% extra damage. Who doesn't want that? And this will take effect whether this character is on field or not. What? What? It's a great weapon. Okay, it works with Ganyu's burst skill. Like, you guys see how insane this is? Like, it works with Ganyu's burst skill. Meaning Ganyu can throw out her burst, and get the hell off, and her burst just deals 20% extra damage. What? It's it's great. So, like, yeah, like, this is gonna be a great weapon banner. I think this might, but it's so difficult because the characters are insane. It's one thing if, like, the characters are decent but the weapons are amazing, but it's just like the characters are amazing, the weapons are amazing. It's a tough choice. I honestly believe that this probably will be the toughest choice free-to-plays have to make for themselves. and it's not just like, oh, which one to get, it's how much to get of each of them. Some people believe that Yelan C1 is an absolute must. It's like, oh, if you don't have Yelan C1, she's very problematic. Like with the issues that I've, she's completely bottlenecked. But it also depends on what team she plays on and like, right, like how you build her. People say, well, you can't play Yelan with her signature weapon if you don't have her C1. It's just not possible. You can't do it. But I've done it. I've been playing with Yelan on this exact team. I also played her on, sometimes I've also played her on Ride National teams. But it's like 80 to 90% of the time, Yelan sits with Hutao. I've also played Yelan with Yoimiya, but my Yoimiya just isn't that great of a character. Level 90 with level 90 weapon. I don't know. I don't like how restrictive she is. And I don't like how crappy the auto-targeting system in this game is. So yeah, I play Yelan with Hutao, with Xingqiu. And my secondary team usually is Raiden Hypercarry, or Ayaka Freeze, or Kaching Hyperbloom, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Not Kaching Hyperbloom. What the fuck? No, Kaching Aggravate. I'm crazy. I'm crazy. Okay, so let's talk about Zhao, because I saw some. Sorry, I wasn't able to get to your comment. I hope you're still here. Oh my goodness, my Zhao is just he's a tragedy. He's a walking tragedy in my account. I don't know how I have 2 Skyward Spines, but I don't have his weapon. How? How? My Zhao is holding a Dragon Spine Spear, for God's sakes. Come on, man. HoYoverse, please. Save this man. Wait, I thought I got him the death... Oh, yeah. I got him the death match because I felt bad for him. But I never leveled it up out of spite because... I'm so salty, okay? People, I'm so salty that after 2.5 years of playing and wailing on this game, I still don't have Zhao's weapon. It must be destiny. It must be HoYoverse telling me, don't play this character. Just don't touch him. But let's talk about Zhao's pull value. I'm gonna be honest with you. Zhao isn't looking too pretty, but there is a case to pull for him because... Where's my Faruzan? Because this character exists. Oh, I forgot to deploy. You see why Zhao is making a rerun, and there's actually a decent like there's a case to be made for people pulling Zhao, is because Faruzan, now that Faruzan is around, Zhao did get a pretty good facelift. However, in the face of, potentially Hutao is coming. In the face of a Hutao and a Yelan rerun right after him, and Alhaitham with him, you tell me how likely people are going to be hunting for Zhao. I do feel bad. I think this guy deserves much more love. HoYoverse has, at every possible occasion, decided to screw with this character. I truly feel like Zhao is a very mistreated unit, both lore-wise as well as game design-wise. They've actually made this character so uncomfortable to play, and till this day, they finally released somebody who makes Zhao feel like a complete unit, but you have to get her to C6. Right, you have to get Faruzan to C6 to have that suction ability to really take advantage of Zhao's plunge attacks or negate the negative effects of Zhao's plunge attack. Zhao Faruzan Zhongli Bennett is fire. I know. If you have a C6 Faruzan, right? Like if you have a C6 Faruzan, Zhao's plunge attacks now can suck enemies together. Do you guys know how busted that is? I always felt like maybe like C4 Zhao should have been that. Like maybe C4 Zhao should just be changed to Zhao can suck enemies towards his plunge attack. But no, why adjust a character's useless constellation to be something useful when you can resell when you can just resell that utility feature with another character. No brainer. Oh my gosh. So when it comes to Zhao's pull value, I don't think it's very high. Okay. First and foremost, I have no idea what the hell the metrics are for pull value. I don't use the same criteria the theory crafters use. I use the walrus criteria. When it comes to walrus pull value, I have to evaluate the excitement level of a character. Is Zhao still exciting? Yeah, to some people, but to most people, even newer players, they're not going to really be hyped up for Zhao. Especially with all the content creators hyping the ever-living crap out of Hutao and Yelan rerun, no one's really gonna be telling you to pull Zhao unless they want massive dislikes on their YouTube video. I mean, I'll do it, but hey, I'll take the hit. But I'm just saying, objectively speaking, there's just very little reasons to go for Zhao apart from I love Zhao. That's it. That's your reason. Apart from that, if you want to speak any more in depth about the game, he is not a good pickup, especially since Faruzan it has no rate up now. So you can't, even if you wanted to pair Zhao with Faruzan C6, you cannot. Like, let's say if you have $1,000, you're probably not going to get Faruzan C6. That's just how it is. That's just the kind of game this is, right? Like, sure, she's in the general pool, but with $1,000, are you guys going to tell me you can have a good chance of C6ing Faruzan on like when she's not rate up? Probably not. So it's like you're kind of stuck in this awkward situation. If you didn't C6 your Faruzan, Zhao's pull value is even worse. And that's just me being honest with you. I have nothing against the character. I just feel like this is not a good time to be hunting for Zhao or his constellations because I'll be honest with you, Zhao's constellations are some of the most ass-cheek constellations in the game past his C1. C2, C3, C4, C5, like, I mean, apart from C3 and C5 being some very standard constellation, his C2 and C4 are just... Bro, if you're going for Zhao C2, you better be prepared to go all the way to C6. Marcus Bullock said the thing is 4-star are harder to get than 5-star. So by that logic, yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm saying. Right now, Hoyoverse is putting a lot of emphasis on high constellation 4-stars. I mean, it's great. It's great for profits, but it sucks to be a free-to-play, knowing that you need to get Faruzan to C6 to unlock the full potential of not only her, the character, but also your other Anemo characters. That really stings, man. As a free-to-play, that really feels bad. What happened to getting, like Bennett C1 was the standard back then. Like, wow, getting this character to C1 unlocks such a huge part of his kit. Well, forget C1. Even C4 nowadays feels, just short of amazing. So yeah, is Yelan better for Klee than Xingqiu? I thought Klee, I mean, if you're playing Yelan with Klee, you're probably doing the jump cancel, right? You're doing this thing. Oh my goodness, I hate that animation cancel for Klee, bro. You're probably doing this because you can't use your charge attacks because I don't think Yelan's thing works. You're doing this. Wait, am I doing it wrong? Oh, I hate this so much. How do I feel like it's slower? What was her it was this. It's something like this. Like oh, this is so annoying. Like and I say this while I play Hutao jump cancel and dash cancel, but this is very annoying for me. Is it M1 and 2 and then jump? Yeah, so like right as the animation for her normal attack 2 comes out, you can jump to cancel the rest and reset. I listen, if you love playing Klee, like, I mean, all the power to you, but this has more problems than just being annoying to play and feeling clunky. You are also a sitting duck. You have to understand. You're also a sitting duck when you do this. You need a Zhongli. Like, you need a shielder. Well, she's just gonna get blasted into infinity and beyond. But yeah, you know, like, Yelan is a better pair for Klee if you're looking for more damage. Yelan is just more damage in comparison to Xingqiu. Xingqiu gives you some sort of hybrid defense and even healing capabilities. Yelan, on the other hand, is just more damage. N1 and 2 jump. Yeah. So yeah, this is Klee's combo. Man. Is there even a normal attack unit that doesn't want Yelan? No, I don't think so. I think most characters in the game, if they use normal attacks, they would love Yelan. Probably even Fischl, like normal, like physical carry Fischl can pair really well with Yelan because Fischl has Oz to do electro charge, right? So yeah. Value wise, okay. So here's a summary. When it comes to both characters at C0, Yelan wins. When it comes to vertical, like in my opinion, vertical wise, it depends, right? It depends on how you want to play your Yelan. It's not in every scenario Yelan C1 is going to win over Hutao. In my opinion, if you're already picking up a Hutao, you might as well invest into her to make her as strong as she can because Yelan can get away with mediocre damage. The onus to dealing damage is not fully put on Yelan until you have Yelan at higher constellations. Then she herself takes over as like the sole damage carry on the entire team. Nay, your entire account. Okay? But when it's at low constellations, Yelan's role in your team is hydro application and damage support. Some sort of layering of damage. That is her role. You shouldn't be expecting your Yelan to out DPS your main carry. Then what the hell is your main carry? What's the point even of having a main carry, right? That's why I think it's very counterintuitive. If you're pulling for a Yelan to synergize your Hutao, but you're expecting your Yelan to outperform your Hutao. So you're putting in more resources into Yelan to have Yelan do more, when if you put those same resources into Hutao, likely Hutao would do just as much, if not more. Okay? That's why I say, like, if you already are decided to play Hutao and you want to main Hutao as a character, it's probably better for you to invest into Hutao. But if you are just using Hutao temporarily, you're like, I'm okay with this character. She's strong. I'm not really gonna play her past a couple patches, or I'm probably gonna pivot onto another DPS. And yeah, by all means, skip Hutao C1 because that's a waste. Staff of Homa probably could be skipped as well in that case because you're not gonna I don't think you really need to pull a Staff of Homa for, let's say, your Zhangling, right? It's just like you could, but is your Zhangling struggling that much that she needs a Staff of Homa? If you want a new shiny toy, like a stat stick, or you think this is the perfect opportunity, go for it. But when it comes to true value of these characters, I know it's very lazy and wishy-washy to say it depends, but like I said, I've highlighted the difference. I highlighted different scenarios where Hutao is better and Yelan's better. Generally speaking, from a meta perspective, from a damage perspective, yes, Yelan C1 is probably going to feel better than Hutao C1. But there is a case to be made for if you're already playing Hutao, you're already picking up a Staff of Homa, or you already have Hutao hyper invested with the Staff of Homa, you might as well go for C1. Especially if you already got her animation canceling down, you love the character, you want to just explore new avenues and nuances to playing Hutao with a much less restrictive stamina gauge, then I think C1 Hutao is justified. Again, if you're playing Yelan in a double hydro Hutao team with Xingqiu, or you're playing her in Raiden national teams as a substitute to having your Xingqiu on your Hutao team, or Xingqiu on another team, whatever team that is, you don't need it. You don't need C1 for the energy winner. Like, the only case to be made is C1 could get you more damage. Having 2 elemental skills, each proccing like 70k, and that's like on the normal end. Like, if you're proccing 70k per enemy and you link 5 enemies, that's 350k. And if you do that twice, that's 700,000 instance of damage, combined damage. 700,000. Can you guys? That's impressive, right? That is impressive. I'm not saying that's not impressive. That's a huge help in terms of damage output. The glitch supernova is asking, is Yelan better than Hutao? Yes. Generally speaking, Yelan is better than Hutao. Generally speaking, Yelan is better than Hutao. She has far more usages, far more than Hutao. Hutao has 1. All right, Hutao has like 1 or 2 teams at best. Yelan has like 7 teams. 7 teams, and Yelan has the better vertical progression, meaning that, let's say you're still playing this game 3-4 years down the line, and you work your way up to a C6 Yelan. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's like Hutao C6 versus Yelan C6 is even bigger. It's even a bigger difference. So I'm just saying, in terms of vertical progression, Yelan wins. In terms of horizontal usage, Yelan wins. In terms of utility, Yelan wins. In terms of raw damage output potential, I think Hutao wins. Right? But that's like, because she's a DPS. Yelan's not like a main DPS. Yelan is a supportive off-field DPS. In many ways and one, I think that's more valuable, because how many options do we have for on-field DPS? There's a ton of on-field DPS, but how many characters can really be a great assistance to your on-field DPS? When it comes to off-field DPS tier lists, Yelan has to be top 3 in the game, if not like the best off-field DPS in the game. Right? So that's like her value. That's where it's that her role is very, very, very difficult to replace. And on top of that, she is a Hydro character, which makes it even harder. Like, the only character that can replace Yelan is Xingqiu. And Yelan was introduced in the game to replace Xingqiu. So it's not like you're really looking for a character to replace Yelan. You're actually looking for a character to replace Xingqiu. And Yelan not only replaces him, but in many scenarios, she performs better than him. Survivability isn't something people usually look for in Genshin Impact. It's how to deal more damage. So, overall, I think Yelan is the better character. Okay? But if you're here looking for answers to, should I get Staff of Homa? Should I get Aqua Simulacra? Should I get C1 Yelan? Should I get C1 Hutao? Like I said, the answer to that question is very complex. It really depends on your account, what you're planning to play these characters with, like the teams you're trying to play them with, the synergies. When it comes to the weapons, they also like, then you start having to talk about, okay, so what other characters you have in your account who's built and you're playing. If you have like no, like if you don't have any other bow characters, like you have Yelan and that's it, and like none of your other bow characters are built and you don't plan on building them, but then let's say you have plenty of spear users. You have Zhangling, you have Zhao, you have all these spear users who can take advantage of Staff of Homa, and then yeah, Staff of Homa is going to be better. But if, let's say on the flip side, you have no spear user apart from Hutao, and your Zhangling is rocking, let's say, what's that fishing weapon called? The catch, right? Your Zhangling's rocking R5 catch because your Raiden has an engulfing lightning, and you don't have Hutao. right? It's really, really situational. And then like you have Yelan build, you have Fischl build, you have Ganyu, you have all these bow users, you have Tartaglia, Tignari, and not, like most of them don't have their signature weapon. Like, yeah, then Aqua Simulacra is going to be a great pickup because no matter how you rotate your team, you're just going to put Aqua Simulacra on the carry that you're playing, right? So Mython K is saying, please answer my question. How apply Hydro faster? Who apply Hydro faster? Yelan C0 or Xingqiu C2? Now be careful when you ask that question, because applying Hydro faster isn't really the solution you're looking for. That shouldn't be the key focus you're having. And I remember Xingqiu C2 is faster. Correct me in chat if I'm wrong, but I remember that I remember when Yelan first came out, we were looking at that, and I remember Xingqiu being faster, but it didn't really matter. It didn't really matter because no one can really keep up. No one could really keep up. So like it doesn't matter how fast they were applying the Hydro. The character, because the ICD won't allow you. For Yoimiya, you're still vaping, or is it vaping or reverse vaping? Like the vaporize still happens every third attack. It's not like suddenly with Xingqiu or something she can do like every other attack, right? So the real question you should be asking is, right, like what's the key difference between running a Xingqiu versus running a Yelan? That's going to be a much more important question for you to like get the answer to. And the answer to that, like I know I'm asking a question and I'm answering it myself, but the answer to that is Xingqiu brings more defense and survivability, whereas Yelan brings more offense and bulldozing. huge amounts of offense. Whereas Xingqiu's defense really, in most cases, in my opinion, needs a shielder to be working with in conjunction with. Unless, yes, you're a god gamer, you can dodge lethal hits consistently, then yeah, Xingqiu's water sword would be more than enough for you to survive like up his 12 runs. But for the most part, I found that with Xingqiu running combination with a shielder makes him feel a lot better. Okay? Because those swords do heal you, and they heal you like a respectable amount for what a DPS op carry is providing. But it'll never make up for the damage dealt to you if you're not either A, dodging, or 2, shielding. Okay? So, that's your answer. I don't know if it was an adequate answer, but yeah, that's the answer. Xingqiu even at C0 beats Yelan Hydro application. Yeah, I remember Xingqiu was the better Hydro applicator. Tank Device says free-to-play should not go for hyper carries. Just play Hyper Bloom and clear all the content with EM Cookie or at most EM Rider. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Right? Hyper carries are some of the most expensive characters in the game because hyper carries oftentimes has an accompanying 4-star who has a C6 C6 ceiling. But I think if you're like a patch 1.0 free to play, at this point you can play whatever the hell you want. You should have enough resources to have like 4 teams by now. Hyper carries are like whale bait. Hyper carry teams are more whale bait, and it feels very awkward to play certain hyper carry teams prior to unlocking the 4 stars at a higher constellation, because those characters just feel very awkward. And usually even the 5 stars have like a C1, C2 that you want to ideally reach before they start feeling very good to play. Yeah, mono teams, hyper carry teams, a lot of mono teams are like likely is like forcing your DPSs to becoming hyper carries, right? Like think about Shenhe, think about Ito. Ito is a hyper carry. Ito is like a hyper mono carry team. Like he is so expensive to build. I remember I made a video talking about like some of the most expensive compositions to build in the entire game, and Ito was up there. Like Ito hyper carry is top 5. I think I even had Raiden hyper carry in there, because Raiden hyper carry, you need like Raiden C3. Like you don't need it. Like ideally you want Raiden C3 and Sarah C6, but I think Ito edges out even more. Because Ito, I mean, it depends how you see it. You can get away with C2 Raiden, but Ito, you were looking at like C2. So I mean, these C6 4-stars are just really, really starting to creep up on players, especially now with Faruzan. Like Faruzan C6 feels much more important to me than, let's say, Goro C6 or Sarah C6. Feels bad, man. When you start involving utility features in a C6 4-star, that's when you know you're like, it's utility power creep. That's utility power creep. You're having to pay for a C6. I'm okay with C6 giving massive damage boosts, but I don't know if I'm okay with C6's giving like insane utility features. Imagine if in the future they make, let's say, like a buffer, like a really, really good buffer. Oh my god! Like just imagine the like better than Bennett. Let's say a universal damage buffer. Okay, imagine this, chat. Imagine in the future they make a universal damage buffer. It just buffs damage, period. Buffs damage. All damage dealt buffs. And you can snapshot, like, it's the perfect buffing character, but you have to get this character to C6 for them to heal. If you get this character to C6, it further increases the buff duration, and then on top of that, they heal. And then they become like a universal healer that heals like all your team, your whole team. Right? It's just like, that's BS. That's so BS, because that's like such a good character to have. You know that characters are gonna become like meta, but the problem is, well, you gotta get them to C6, because without that character at C6, they're just a buffer. But is it really justified having that buffer on your team? Then you are like forced to run Zhongli, which then you're losing out on potential other buffing synergies or debuff synergies. So you're still at a damage loss. So basically, Hoyoverse is like, well, you want to deal the most damage, the most optimized teams, get this character to C6. Right? The Sangalanga says that is like a must pick. Yeah, of course they're going to make that a must pick, but then you're going to have to get that character to C6, or else you're going to be playing with like no healers on your team, and like any bit of chip damage, you're screwed. That character would pretty much trivialize a lot. Like that would be a direct power creep to Bennett, but only if you can get them to C6. You see, that's the direction we're headed in, which is complete BS, but at the same time, I would be super excited to pick up a character like that, because I'm so sick and tired of building a different buffer for every single composition. Imagine that character paired with Raiden and Sarah, and then on top of that, Bennett. So let's say that character's buff stacks with Bennett. Jesus Christ. A lot of people will just not get that character to C6 and run them with like a healer, right? Run them with a Kokomi, a Bennett, a Barbara, a Chi-Chi, like whatever you can heal with. I can see that happening too. What is the best shield for Hutao? Zhongli. Second option, to be honest with you. When it comes to the second best option for Hutao shielders, let's go over some Hutao shielding options. The problem with Hutao shielders is that if you don't go with Zhongli, you're stuck with like second tier characters such as Toma, which gets really awkward. Yeah, like you see, without Zhongli, then it becomes Toma. And Toma, I'll tell you right now, is like, he is not the best shielder in the game. Yeah, like if you want to be a little off meta, a little cheeky, you can go with where's my Yanfei? 73, there you go. Such a weird number to be. If you have Yanfei, I believe at C4, you can use her as like a pseudo shielder as well. Yeah. 45% of her max HP. Honestly, if you're playing Tang Fei, just build triple HP. Just build triple HP or something like that and just run her as a shielder. But you have to understand her shield comes from her burst skill, if I remember. So it's an 80 cost burst. Okay, it's an 80 cost burst. Was there anything that reduces it? No. Okay, so yeah, it's an 80 cost burst. Good luck with that. Some of the best shielders don't really fit very well into a Hutao team. That's the problem. Diona, Layla, where's Layla? Diona and Layla, they just don't fit into the team composition very well. Like they will start interfering with Hutao's reactions, and in that case, like it's probably better to just not run Hutao altogether because your team is so damn your team is gonna be so damn your synergy is gonna start fighting each other, right? Like you're not only just fighting with the enemies, you're also fighting with your own team synergy. So that's why you end up relying on these pyro options. Yeah. Jinyan, bro. Jinyan. Dude, wait, before we continue, can we just talk about how ass cheeks probably the Hutao and Yelan banner 4-stars are gonna be? It's gonna be Hutao. I feel like they're gonna throw Jinyan on there, right? Okay, let's predict the Hutao banner. That's gonna predict the Hutao and look. I think it's gonna be Hutao, Jinyan, and it's gonna be another really like crappy 4-star. Like Chongyun. I think it's gonna be Hutao, Jinyan, Chongyun, and then like I don't know, like maybe a Xiangling, maybe not. I don't think they're gonna have a triple pyro. So Cryo, maybe if they're feeling generous, maybe it'll be like this. No, they're not gonna. Sayu, no way. They're not gonna put that many of a dud. I think it's gonna be like something like this would be a decently acceptable banner. Like I think something like this would be acceptable. Is it amazing? No. But it's like, you know, like hey, come on. It's not the end of the world. Man, Chongyun here just feels such like it's so awkward, man. If like no way. They're not. There's no way. I think Jinyan is going to be on it and maybe another Liyue. What if they do something like this? Like, bro. I think Goro just came, right? So they're not going to do Goro. Like. Like this? Bro. And then you either summon Hutao with this roster or you summon Yelan with this roster. She works with normal attacks. Yeah, Yunjin works with normal attacks. Marquise Williams says, Cap, you definitely saw some leaks. Bro, I swear to you, I've never... Dude, at this point, I'm willing to take like one of those like lie detector things. I've never looked at leaks. The only amount of leaks that I've ever been exposed to are from my own audience asking me questions, which they kind of hinted a little too much at, right? For example, I said in my video, when 20 plus people start asking me about whether Hutao is good or not, right? Then it's like, okay, something is happening with Hutao. Like, there's no way 20 people suddenly start when she's not even in this banner. So, of course, like, I'm not stupid. So, it's like, probably getting a rerun. Same thing with guessing these 4-stars. Like, Yunjin, Jinyan, like, Jinyan's almost a must. She was, like, Jinyan and Hutao were, like, in the like, music thing. Like, right? Hutao was like, it just feels like Jinyan is a must. And I don't think they're gonna, like, cuck you that bad by not putting Xingshu, because they always put a great synergy unit with the 5-star on the banners, almost always. So these two characters, like, if you just think about it a little bit, just look at what Hoyoverse does, you should be able to guess this. Like, I don't know why people make it sound like, oh my god, how could you possibly know this without looking at leaks? I don't know. Think. Like, just think. Look, for example, look at what they do with this. Oh, look. Asara. Right? Got some weird fur in my mouth. See, they always do this. A 4-star that works really well with the 5 stars. When Ito comes, it's Goro. When Raiden comes, is Shogun. Who came before this again? Oh yeah, when I feel like in the future, Faruzan is likely going to rerun with either Zhao or Scaramouche. If Scaramouche ever reruns, you can bet that Faruzan is back. Always, always, they always do this. So if we're looking at, oh, wrong button. If we're looking at a Hutao rerun, if we follow this train of thought for a 4-star that synergizes incredibly well with Hutao, it has to be Xingqiu. It has to be. This is not me looking at leaks. Like, maybe if I put Yunjin here because people in chat were saying Yunjin, right? And they can't put another Pyro, so like it weeds out something like Jiangling, it weeds out something like, and we're looking for Liyue characters, right? We're looking for Liyue characters who is festive, and yeah, it makes sense because Yunjin is like a performer, and it's a Chinese New Year, so thematic wise, like these performers would fit the category, and they also can't be too meta, right? They just can't they can't be too strong because they already have a strong character. So Hoyoverse's rule of thumb is you can only have one strong character if the 5-star is also strong. If the 5-star sucks, like if the 5-star not sucks, no 5-stars suck, right? I mean, everybody is good, but for the sake of this example, if you have a 5-star who's rerunning who is not that desirable, I'm sorry, we shouldn't do him like that. Let's just pick Albedo, all right? Albedo, no, like nobody feels bad for Albedo because Albedo is like has no feelings. So let's just go with Albedo. So let's say if Albedo is rerunning, oh, let's put Bennett on here, right? Like, oh my god, we gotta put Bennett. Let's put Xingqiu on here, or like let's put Bennett. Let's put like another really solid 4-star, like a really desirable 4-star character. Oh, maybe let's give him some Faruzan constellations. Wow, they're gonna be like a lot of people didn't feel like going hard on Faruzan. Like put Bennett, Faruzan, and then we'll put like a lesser character. I don't know, maybe a Beto, right? Like a solid character, but not bad. So then they're trying to incentivize you to pull on this banner, not because of the 5-star, but because the 4-star. Okay? That's like, you'll see a banner like this paired with a 5-star like Albedo. But if you see 5-stars like Raiden Shogun, you're probably not gonna see super amazing 4-stars. See 5-stars like Zhongli, probably not gonna see super amazing. See 5-stars like Kazuha, probably not gonna see super amazing 4-stars. Right? Because like Kazuha's are already selling the banner. You don't need great 4-stars to sell the banner anymore. People are already polling because of Kazuha, but nobody's gonna poll because of Albedo. I mean, not nobody. Very little people are gonna poll because of Albedo. So you need a little bit of incentive to get them to justify spending some primos. Most people would be like, oh, I'm gonna go for Faruzan constellations, right? And if I get Albedo, I get Albedo. That's how this works. It's not complicated. So you go to Hutao, most likely gonna have Xingqiu, Jinyan, who is in the trailer, and then one more Liyue character who's not Hydro, not Pyro, and who's also festive, which yeah, makes sense. Yunjin. Seems like it makes sense. Feel bad. Because there's some all types of gamer moments. How do I speedrun primos for Raiden C1? Unfortunately, there's really no way to speedrun primos. Genshin is designed as a game where you can only like build up over time if you're free to play. So meaning if you don't exchange playtime for primos over a long period of time, the only other way to get fast primos is to pull out your wallet. The game was designed this way. Lord of Sloth, I never would have pulled on Ito banner if not for Kuki. Yeah, like sometimes the 4 stars are better incentive than the 5 star. I was asking, is Albedo still a viable sub DPS for Hutao, or is Yelan so much better? No, Albedo is great. Yeah, like don't feel like you have to pull Yelan. Albedo by all where is it? Where's my Xingqiu? Oh my god. Our dog has absolutely destroyed her toy. We we had this rubber toy for her. It's in Shama. Where is Xingqiu? Oh. Okay, there. This team comp is good, but I would only say Albedo is worth running if you have Zhongli. If you run Albedo with like if you run it like this team is so damn scuffed. Not that scuffed, but like it's just very awkward. Right? If you don't have Zhongli to have the Geo Resonance, you know, it's just like maybe play something else. This is just like this is just gonna piss you the hell off. If you're playing this team, you better have like a patience of a saint, because you're gonna constantly be ending Hutao's elemental skill early to go reshield, meaning you're not gonna be able to take full advantage of Xingqiu's burst skill uptime, because you want to be attacking the whole time, right? You want to use up as much of Xingqiu's burst as you possibly can, as much of Hu Tao's elemental skill as you can. And remember, you have no healer in this team as well. So with the lack of a healer combined with a lackluster shielder, and Xingqiu's pseudo healing can only get you so far, it's tough. It's tough. Not unplayable, but it's tough. Let's say on top of that, your Hutao is C0 using a free-to-play weapon. It's just right. But if you have this variant, very, very solid. Very, very solid. Okay. This team you can probably comfortably play even Hutao with C0 with a free-to-play weapon. Let's say like with a Black Polearm, Blackcliff Polearm, I mean, and free-to-play weapon, Dragon's Bane. Rock solid, yeah. Zendao, okay. Yeah, very, very solid team. The difference between this team and where is it? Where is she? I can't find my character. Okay, there it is. The difference between these two variants is double Geo was giving you the Endure Rock, giving you better shield time, so it's more of a defensive thing. Whereas Albedo, if you have Albedo well built, is also getting a pretty good damage buff. So you're relying more on the Geo characters in assistance with your Hutao to deal damage and, you know, to clear the content together. Also with a stronger shield, so more reliability there. Not like Zhongli's shield needs any more strength in it if you're building him properly, but having that extra shield strength is great. Yes, you also get a 15% damage increase on Hutao, which is great. Like, who doesn't want that? It's just straight up 15% damage increase, right? I think the double Geo comp is like, it's very similar, especially if you have Albedo very well leveled and invested into. Like, but if you have him like me sitting at level 70, right, with a very lackluster investment, like he helps, but mostly he's here for moral support with the Enduring Rock synergy to funnel more like that 15% attack back into Hutao. So it's really good, but on the contrary, Yelan Hydro Resonance gives HP buff, which helps Yelan, helps Zhongli, helps Hutao. I don't remember if it helps Xingqiu, because at this point I don't even care if it helps Xingqiu. When you have a 25% max HP buff for a Zhongli, for Yelan herself, and for Hutao, on top of probably having one of the best support DPS damage, as well as her burst having a ramping damage buff. So let's say you cut to Zhongli for a quick burst, you cut to Hutao for her elemental skill, the damage continuously rises up. It's not like an amazing damage buff, but it's there and you can kind of feel it as it slowly ramps up. And I think at the last hit you can get up to, what was it, 50%? Was it 50%? I remember it was 50%. I might be crazy because 50% is sounding like an awful lot of damage. But, oh no, I think it was one of her talents. Yeah, it was 50%. I wasn't crazy, but this 50% doesn't last very long. It's like one charge attack if you time it right. Oftentimes, you'll probably not even get it to 50%. You'll probably do like a 44, 45% charge attack buff. And I mean, it's huge because Hutao only does 8-9 charge attacks per elemental infusion. So at the end of the day, that hit is you're really gonna feel it. So she's a much better offensive option, whereas Albedo is a hybrid offense-defense option, but Albedo can bring just as much firepower with his elemental skill, Albedo is much less active of a character while still offering a ton of damage support. Great character. Don't feel like you have to get Yelan. Here's the thing I will say. If you're getting Yelan just to get a Hutao upgrade, you're better off with that. Just don't do it, because you can save it and go for something else. The better reason to get Yelan is to have better synergies with a character that oftentimes will be a great substitute for Xingqiu. Like, this game always needs hydro application. It doesn't matter what compositions you're playing now. Hydro seems to be like a pretty important element that synergizes with most, if not all, meta teams, unless you're like a superconduct player. Apart from that, I think, Vaporize, Freeze, you got Electro Charged, you got Bloom, Hyper Bloom. They all use Hydro. Hydro is like an irreplaceable part of all these compositions. Aggravate Spread, right? Stuff like that. It's just, wait, Spread doesn't use Hydro. I think Spread was Electro and Dendro. Man, like Dendro reactions just have my head hurting. Like, Aggravate and Spread are Electro Dendro exclusive. Bloom, Hyper Bloom are Hydro and Dendro exclusive, right? Yeah. Spread is Electro and Dendro. Yeah. Spread is when Electro hits an enemy that has Dendro on them, right? Something like that. Yeah. So Bloom and Hyper Bloom basically, it's it's so insane how they designed a character and released her at a time when, basically Yelan is the Kazuha of 3.0. She was released one patch before Sumeru arrived, when everybody was holding their primos for the new region, and they released a bomb character. I'm surprised they didn't hold off for Yelan's rerun until like a really, really, really slow patch, saying like 3.6 or 3.7. Is Weapon Banner worth it? Oh, yeah. Weapon Banner is going to be worth it because you can't really lose unless you don't have Yelan and you don't have a bunch of bow users. Let's say you're playing a bunch of sword and claymore users. Then the Weapon Banner might be terrible because no matter what weapon you get, you're probably not going to be able to take advantage of it. Frozen Space says, "Hey Wallace, I have 2 DPS right now, Ganyu and C2 Raiden. I was wondering if I should get Hutao or Yelan, because both Ganyu and Raiden needs Bennett. So I don't have 2 teams for Spiral Abyss right now." I know the pain. But if you are willing to sacrifice, I think Bennett works much better with Raiden. Ganyu should be played in more of a freeze team if you can. If you have Barbara, it doesn't work that well. But if you have Kokomi, you can probably go play a Ganyu freeze team with like a Sucrose, Kokomi, Ganyu, and Rosaria. Something like that. Or I think in your situation, do you have Zhongli? See, this is the question I'm gonna start asking. I'm gonna start asking this question. Do you have Zhongli Frozen Space? Because if your answer is no, you should just go for Yelan. Like in your situation, if you don't have Zhongli, I think you should just skip Hutao altogether. It's not gonna be worth the pain to build up another shield, like a shielder, to the point where it's like safe for Hutao to deal damage comfortably. Frozen Space, yes, I have Zhongli. Okay, if you have Zhongli, I think there could be a case made to go for Hutao. Your C2 Raiden, are you playing Raiden National? Is that why your Xingqiu is tied? Because if you get Hutao, you have to give her Xingqiu. Hutao then suddenly needs Xingqiu more than Raiden needs Xingqiu. That's the problem, right? Like if you have a C6 Sara, you can just play Raiden, Sara, Bennett, Kazuha. That's if you don't have Kazuha, Sucrose works. You have to have Sucrose. Do you have Sara at like what constellation is your Sara? I think like if you have Sara at C2, you can still play her. It's fine. Because Raiden C2 is so insane that like you don't need C6, but it would be amazing if you did. But just having Viridescence and maybe a C2 Sara, you can get away with it. Yeah. C6 Sucrose, Sara C2. I think you can get away with that team. Hutao with Xingqiu. No Yelan. Do you have Albedo? Frozen Space probably. I'm gonna guess you likely don't have Albedo. So you can't even play Hutao's best in slot. You're gonna end up playing like a weird version of Hutao. You see, people, look how complex it is to answer this question. I think I ran it on my 3 pulp character. Ah, okay. Yeah, probably go for Yelan. I mean, it's awkward because Hutao just requires too much resources for you at this point. Yeah. I think Yelan's probably the safer call here. Yelan actually, like, your problems are not going to be solved with Yelan, but Yelan is a very good stepping stone for your, like, you're going to find yourself at a much more comfortable position because you have Yelan. Does that make sense, Frozen Space? If you pull off Hutao now, all the things you have to think about in your head is how am I going to justify this pull? But pulling Yelan means you justify future pulls. Does that make sense? Like, it's a very different direction. Like, if you pick up Hutao here in the like for the next 6 to 8 months, you're gonna be thinking, I need this character's rerun so I can justify my Hutao pull that I did months ago. But if you pick up Yelan here in the future, you're gonna be like, okay, I can pick up this character because I picked up Yelan back then. Make sense? So in your case, Yelan is the better pickup. I mean, I would say in 70 to 80% of people's cases, Yelan is going to be the better pickup, but in the very rare case that Hutao is the better pickup, likely you're going to invest more than just simply picking up Hutao. Like, you're going to pick up Hutao, you're going to pick up the Staff of Homa, and if you have any leftovers, you probably should double back and pick up Hutao C1 just to, because in those people's cases, likely the reason to pick up Hutao over Yelan is because they love her and they want to hyper invest into her. They want to build an entire team composition around her. Let's say they don't have Yelan, but they have Albedo, Zhongli, Xingqiu, and their alternate teams are like a Freeze hyper carry team or something, because they can't really play a Ito hyper carry team. They can, but Zhongli is stuck with Hutao, so Ito hyper carry teams are kind of out of the question. Teams that can be paired with Hutao are like new Dendro meta teams. Like even bow characters such as Yoimiya, Ganyu start to feel like I mean, nowadays with what's her name, Layla, Ganyu Melt could Hana, you guys are gonna see a cat tail going in front of the camera. That is my cat. A little jump scare for you guys. I'm gonna look at the replay here to see the cat. ASD says, what if I have Raiden and Zhongli for pure DPS purposes? Would I have Raiden and no Zhongli for pure DPS purposes? I would say if you don't have Zhongli, just skip Hutao. Listen, I don't mean to be boring and be like, oh, you need Zhongli, you need to play meta, or dude, just trust me and save yourself the headache, all right? Trust me. If you don't trust me, go ahead and pull it. And I'm not gonna say you're gonna suffer. I'm just you might have a lot of fun, but I'm just saying it's a lot more work if you don't have Zhongli. It is a lot more work to make Hutao feel comfortable. Like, you will likely have a different rotation from normal Hutao. Like, if you're gonna go watch a Hutao in-depth guide and don't have Zhongli, your rotations will not really work because your shield just cannot tank as much. Like, given the same situation, your shield will break probably 3 to 4 seconds before the demonstration shield break, meaning you have 3 to 4 seconds less of protection on your Hutao, who is constantly battling between 30% HP. Like, I would say Hutao mostly hovers around like 20 to 30% health. That's like the range you're constantly hovering around, and that's probably like less than 10,000 health for most people. Right? So, I'm just saying, like, if you're comfortable running around with 8,000 health in Abyss 12 with like a shield that can tank like 2-3 hits, like, your Hutao's almost never going to be able to fully utilize her charge attacks. Almost never. Like, in rare case scenarios, sometimes your charge attacks will dodge a couple lethal hits, and in conjunction with your shield tanking a couple more, yeah, she can probably reach her maximum hits, but in most cases, I think your shield's just gonna break. J-Max is playing Hutao is like playing with fire in real life. Yeah, it's like, in the first couple of weeks when you first picked up Hutao and you've never played with her before, your palms are gonna be like sweatier than a hiker's butt crack. Like, I'm like, it's true. You're just gonna be constantly dancing on the line of death. Ew, sorry for that image. Yelan is better overall, better as support, better in open world. Yeah, like, Yelan is a superior character here. Well, I don't have both Hutao or Zhongli, so not my problem. Yeah, I think there's very little cases to be made for Hutao if you're talking about meta and just building a strong account. Homo sapiens, that was a poor metaphor. I'm sorry. It's the first thing that popped into my mind when I thought of sweaty. Just like, oh, hiker's butt crack. I honestly think the Hutao low HP thing is overjudged. She always has her burst to heal herself. But the thing is, with her burst, you oftentimes will go above 50%, and then you use her elemental skill again, and then you're down to 30% again. Stuff like that. Or you hit like 20 enemies and she's full HP and you need to use her elemental skill twice again to get her below half health. It's a constant battle with her HP control. It's a constant battle. If you play her though for like an extended period of time, a month, maybe even less than that, you'll get used to it though. You get very used to it because you'll get used to how much your shield. Okay, listen. Here's another thing that people won't talk about. Being comfortable with Hutao is just as much to do with understanding Hutao's mechanics as understanding your shielder's mechanics. I said this earlier in the stream, but if you want to be truly a Hutao master, you need to be fully aware of what your shield is capable of. If you cannot gauge the strength and potential of your shield, you will suffer, my friend. You will suffer. You'll have so many moments where suddenly your Hutao is like, oh, and you were like, fuck. Especially if your Hutao is in the second chamber and that thing happens, you're gonna have to go back to the first chamber and clear the first chamber again. And let's say if you're playing, oh my god, let's say if you're playing Eula, and Hutao. Oh, and you're gonna have to go back and fish for a Eula burst again. Like, not only does she have to hit every single enemy, but that burst has to crit, and it took you like 10 tries to fish for it the first time. Yeah, good luck. Good luck. Like, good luck playing that, because you're gonna be so frustrated by the time you finish the Abyss. Krishna is saying, I have Zhongli, Ayato, Kazuha, Ito, and Tignari. Now I am skipping Shogun for Hutao and Homa, or maybe if I am lucky, I may go for Yelan too. Is this okay? I have Zhongli, Ayato, Kazuha, Ito, and Tignari. Now be very careful. You see, I see you have Ito, but I also see you have Ayato, and you have Tignari. But you don't have... I mean, Tignari can work. If you play Hutao, Krishna, you see another example, another case where it's very difficult to gauge this, right? If you have Ito, it means you will likely not be able to play Hutao with Ito together, right? Not on the same team, but like in Abyss. Ito being on one side, Hutao on the other side, because they fight for Zhongli. They fight for Zhongli. So then you have to play like an Ayato Electro Charge team, right? You'll play either Ito Hyper Carry, or you play Hutao Carry, and your alternatives are Ayato Electro Charge with Kazuha, or then you play Tignari Aggravate with like Fischl and stuff. But you also don't have Nahida, so you won't be able to play Tignari's best in slot team, but Dendro MC... But it's fine. You can play Tignari with like Dendro MC, playing it with Kokomi, and then like a Fischl. Should be okay. Yeah, I mean, going for Hutao is fine in this case. You don't have Albedo though, so it's gonna be a little... See, here's the thing, right? Like you're gonna be going for Hutao and Homa, but then at the end of the day, you won't have Hutao's best in slot team, or her second best in slot team. You won't be able to build either of Hutao's best teams. So your Hutao is like playing with suboptimal units, while you have to invest like what? If you're lucky, you can get away with like under 20k gems. If you're unlucky, you're looking at like around like 20k plus primos to play a character who you don't even have the most optimal team comps for. So this is the case where in the future you're going to be looking for another Yelan rerun, or you're going to be looking for like an Albedo rerun in your case, if you want to play like a more optimized Hutao team. You see what I'm saying? It's very rare people will have a Hutao team ready, because it requires you to have Albedo. Here's thesis. I don't fully understand the Hutao low HP mechanic. How does it work, and what does it do? So for Hutao to activate, what was it? So both Hutao and the Staff of Homa has an effect where you have to be below 50% health to activate certain thresholds of their abilities. I remember it was here. See this? When Hutao's HP is equal to or less than 50%, her pyro damage bonus is increased by 33%. So when Hutao herself goes below 50%, her pyro damage is increased by 33%. And on top of that, when the wielder of Staff of Homa's HP is less than 50%, this attack bonus increased by an additional 1% of max health. So HP increased by 20%. Additionally, provide an attack bonus based on 0.8% of the wielder's max HP. So if you go below 50%, this attack bonus by an additional 1% of max HP. You see? Like, this is This is how important it is for you to constantly be below 50%. Because not only if you're, especially if you have Staff of Homa, if you don't have Staff of Homa, like it's not as big of a problem, but 33% pyro damage bonus is still a pretty decent chunk of damage. I hope this makes sense. Most, like, it's a very big thing to be aware of if you're running the Staff of Homa. Without the Staff of Homa, you maybe could not, like, be so focused on it, but then again, 33% pyro damage. What are the best teams for Hutao? Okay. I'm gonna give you 2 of the best teams for Hutao. This is one of them that you're seeing right now. This is probably arguably the current best team for Hutao. Simply because of Soothing Water. It's the residents for having 2 hydro characters on your team. In this case, Xingqiu, Yelan. Both are insanely good on this team. Max HP is increased by 25%. Benefits Yelan, benefits Zhongli, benefits Hutao. All 3 of them, 25% is huge for all 3 of them. Does Xingqiu benefit from this? I don't know if Xingqiu benefits from this. In my memory, I don't believe Xingqiu benefits from this. Oh! Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Everyone benefits. When a rain sword is shattered or regenerates the current HP on 6. Yeah. Yes, it does. He heals more. So, this resonance is it's an absolute godsend for this team. It's huge. Okay? So, the alternative is just one character switch. Where is he? This is another really good team. Now, this team plays around the Geo Resonance, which characters shield first and foremost increased by 15%, but characters who are shielded would also have their damage increased by 15%. Now, this is not like as insane because you're likely only going to be having it active on your on-field character. So just because Xingqiu is dealing damage with his burst skill, I haven't really looked into it, but I don't believe this 15% will be snapshotable by Xingqiu. If somebody in this chat knows, please let me know if Xingqiu's burst skill will snapshot this 15% damage increase. I don't believe it does, but if it does, that just makes this even sweeter. But yeah, you're playing around this, and on top of that, Albedo has to be leveled up somewhat because it will decrease the geo resistance to enemies by 20%, which makes sure Albedo deals more damage. Zhongli's pillars do more damage, his burst deals more damage. So overall, it has great synergies. But I've had some issues with this team. I mean, even with the Yelan variation, that Zhongli's pillar ends up stealing the application. Kanyats is double Geo really not that great anymore. Without double Hydro or double Pyro and Swirl Toma, Hutao are better teams. Yeah, I see people playing the... where's my Toma? This team. Where is he? There. I've seen some people play this team as well. But listen, the problem with this team is like you're putting a lot more onus on other characters than Hutao. I think you can get away with a C0 Hutao much easier with this team as opposed to the other teams. The other team puts a lot more pressure on Hutao to perform, but this team is like everybody is a contributor. So there are probably some other Hutao teams out there, but I haven't really had the need to experiment with them. And like I said, I've never really looked into theory crafting myself. I only know this team because somebody DM'd me like a footage of them using this team, and it looked really strong. Very, very, very good team overall. But yeah, like it's not like you need Albedo. If you have a Toma well built, you can do it. If you don't have Toma, it's like Albedo is not a character most people would just have sitting around. Neither is like a built Toma. You see, like people just don't have these characters just sitting around ready to go. You know what I mean? It's just like it's a little awkward. I probably will do a little bit more research when it comes to Hutao and what she's good with, and I'll have probably a full length video with like some of the best teams you can run her with, including free to play teams and pay to play teams. But yeah, overall, like nowadays, I think there's a lot more variance. But the strongest team is definitely, in my opinion, the Yelan Zhongli Xingqiu team. I would still say Albedo team is good and solid. Like it can get the job done if you don't want to invest. Because if you invest into Albedo, you can at least still play like Ito hypercarry team, which is very expensive to play in of itself because it relies on a high constellation Goro. But it should be fine. Is Hutao C1 overrated in my opinion? Okay, so as somebody who's been playing this character for so damn long, I played Hutao at C0 on viewers account, and yeah, I think Hutao C1 is a little overrated. Is it amazing to have? Oh yeah, like Hutao C1 is a very good thing to have. But the thing is, you won't really appreciate Hutao C1 until you've played Hutao extensively. You know what I mean? You won't really know how good it is unless you're like really keen on her mechanics. Is what I said. Like I like if you're comfortable with animation canceling and like you're a mechanical player, like you know yourself, right? You know yourself the best. If you are a mechanical player in all the games you play, you love like learning intricacies of characters and their complexities and just figuring things out, and you like a challenge, then like I don't think you're gonna find C0 Hutao as big of a problem. But if you're somebody who likes the easy way out, you just like to play, like you like to press a couple buttons and see things just getting demolished. Like overall, I don't think Hutao is going to be a good character for you overall, because I think Hutao should only be played by people who enjoys all these extra input. A lot of people, like I've heard it in the past, saying like, "Oh, Hutao is just like too many steps to play this character. Like, why do I gotta charge attack and then cancel my own charge attack just to be efficient with this character?" Some people just can't justify this. You know, like some people just really can't justify, why do I need to do this? It's C1 doesn't even make this problem go away. C1 actually makes this even more complex, because I said this in my video. If you guys haven't watched it, you can check it out. It's like the tough choice. It's the thumbnail says tough choice. It was yesterday. So if you want a better explanation, you can go there. But here's the thing, right? C0 Hutao doesn't really use dash cancel. This is a C0 Hutao. You'll see C0 Hutao's doing like just spamming jump cancel. This is C0 Hutao. But once your Hutao gets a C1, you start to incorporate dash canceling. Dash canceling is like charge and then you dash, right? You dash. It's kind of what it suggests. But the reason C0 Hutao can't really use dash cancel is your charge attack uses stamina, and your dashing uses stamina. You will just deplete your stamina way too fast at C0 to be incorporating dash canceling into your... I mean, once in a while it's fine, but a C1 Hutao can dash cancel, which is very, 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 very important, because it has to do with your positioning in fights. This I can sit here and talk for hours about Hutao positioning, and a lot of people would say Hutao positioning is just not important. She's a single target carry, blah 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 blah. But in my opinion, the fun of playing Hutao, like now we're talking into more objective territory. Like the fun of playing this character is the intricacies in her charge attack animation cancel, into finding yourself in more favorable positionings to regroup and attack enemies from a different angle. It's very satisfying dealing these massive amounts of damage while also being very, very flexible on your feet, and not you're very proactive she's a very proactive character. You get to decide when you attack, where you attack from, because like sometimes a well-timed charge attack can dodge out of a very, very like lethal hit. You know those enemies who jumps up and then the red circle appears on you and then they jump down on you? Sometimes I'll just use a charge attack to get out of it. They land back behind me and then I go back in. Right? It's like you don't really think about it when you play it for so long, but her charge attacks are as much of a utility mobility function as they are a damage dealing tool. So it's like, I can't explain this feeling to you guys because you have to play it to understand. It's a very satisfying feeling when you're like in the middle of battle and the enemies decide to do like a really hard hit and you just disengage. You just disengage with your charge attack and then you go back in with your charge attack. You know, it's like it's a very fluid combat method that is like it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful once you're able to, and combine that with Yelan's mobility. Now it saves you a bit of stamina to run around, right? It's just like everything links together to make this character feel fun to play, and she has no really requirements for like a support 4-star that has to be C4. Right, she's a very old character by now, yet she still performs at a very high level because of how simple her kit is. It's just a bunch of like scaling, and then the only complex thing is you have to learn your animation cancels. But like that's the trade-off, right? Like a character who is not overly complex in of herself when it comes to her skill, her stats, but they're demanding you to be a little more mechanically savvy. Moonlight says, I literally understand what Walrus is trying to say, but it's hard to convey what I'm trying to say. People will be like, so what? She dashes. Like, oh, wow. Like, what's the big idea? But they don't understand what I'm trying to convey here is that, like, how she dashes. You get to choose when and where she dashes to. You get to choose how far she dashes. If I want to go full distance, like let's say if I want to dodge a huge hit, I'm in the center of it, I can charge the full distance. I don't need to cancel, and I'm out of that entire like zone. But at the same time, if I don't want to go really far and the circle is very little, I can always cancel it. Like for example, if the circle is like very, very stark, I can do this and I'm turned around, right? I can do this and I turn around and I reposition and I'm already like in their face. I don't have to go the full distance. Her dash cancel is much more flexible. Look, I can go back to my starting position like that. I can go back to my starting position. This is like how you decide where to go with her and like how you want to reposition. It's, I mean, there's a reason why I've been playing Hutao for so long. Prior to Hutao, I was a devoted Keqing fan. But ever since Hutao came out, the first week was so annoying. The first week playing this character was hella annoying. But every week after that just gets better and better and better and better. Let's see how many charge attacks we can do. I remember if you are like if you're really good at canceling, you can get up to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11! Okay. But let's be honest, I think I canceled 2 of them. So it doesn't really count. But if you're really good with Hutao, you should be consistently hitting 9 and sometimes even 10. And Hutao's charge attacks are averaging, I'd say even free-to-plays, it should be like 70k. Right? So think about that. You're dealing 700,000. Like, I mean, 650,000 to 700,000. Think about that. For a C0, C1 character, doing that much damage on like a what? Like a, what's the downtime? on like a 6-second downtime. Bro, you're dealing like 700,000 damage on with like a 6-7 second downtime. Yeah, if you combine charge attack with ult, Hutao's window of DPS can get over 1 million consistently. This is consistently. Isn't that kind of BS? Like, no wonder Hoyoverse can't really power creep this character. Like, what more can you want? Like, you want to do like 10 million damage given in like 10 seconds, right? This is not realistic to power creep a character like this. You can't. Yeah, like if you have her built decently well, she's dealing over 1 million per charge attack window. You guys realize how insane that is, right? It's just like you could want AoE. Oh, Hadrian, I'm just waiting for him to step wrong on a rock. No. I know my Hutao limits very well. My Hutao ain't dying. I can sit here and play around with her for like the next 5 hours and she probably won't die. Oh, look at this. Oh. But I think if I plunge off here, she will die. Even if I plunge, she will die. But I think if I land in the water, she won't die. All right, chat. Let's play a game. Will my Hutao die? Oh, no. Yes, she will. Will my Hutao perish if I jump off and plunge from here? Do you think she will die? I don't think I'll plunge. I won't plunge. All right. Let's go here. I'm going to jump off and let's see if she survives. Woo! She survived. She would die to a light breeze right now. If she sneezes a little too hard, she will die. No. For the most part, if people comes to me asking between Hutao and Yelan, even though I love this character so damn much, she's so fun to play, I would still recommend people to go for Yelan, just because you're going to have a much better time with your account in the long run. That's just, like, I'm just saying honestly. And my bias should be towards Hutao, but I can't tell people to pull for Hutao. What's Hutao's pull value if you have a Yoimiya well invested? Very, like, not very low, but like much lower. I think Yoimiya in most cases can do what Hutao does. It's just Yoimiya has her own drawbacks, right? Being a bow user who relies on auto targeting, that's just not it, man. That's just not it. I think the only situation, I mean, yeah, like the only situation where I think Hutao probably is an overall better pickup is if you're like a very new player and you have close to no DPS on your like you just have no 5-star DPS. You have like Zhongli, you have a couple maybe like support DPS, but you have no 5-star main DPS. Picking up a Yelan is like, yeah, it's still a better all future investment, but you're gonna be sitting very awkwardly with your account because Yelan at C0 with a free-to-play weapon ain't gonna really be your carry. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, she can deal decent damage, but it's like in that case, just pick up a Hutao, pair her with like your Zhongli, slap a Xingqiu in there, and you'll have a great carry. Like that's if you have even a couple DPS options invested, I think you should be fine. Okay? ASD says, if I have Raiden, do I roll for Yelan or just stick with Xingqiu and save for another banner? The thing is, who are you saving for? at this point in the game, right? Like that, like I'm not saying this sarcastically, but I'm just saying that you have to be very conscious of like how you want to grow your account, because Genshin is not a very forgiving game. If in the moment you suddenly want something, let's say you wait until you see a leak next patch, you're not gonna make it. Like you see a patch before you, but sure, you can save up everything you can muster in this one patch, but that's not enough to guarantee what's coming next patch. So you have to be very conscious of how you want to develop your account, in what direction. There's very different meta games nowadays. If you develop into Geo, it's very hard to pivot away into a Raiden, like a national or like or a Dendro meta. Let's say you pulled Albedo, you pulled Zhongli, you pulled Ito, and suddenly now you want to play Nahida comps. You know what I mean? It's very hard to now pivot fully away from that as a free to play to now. But if you're smart and you're like, okay, I know I'm very wishy-washy, I know I like to dance around different compositions, then you need to find a branch of gameplay where you need to pull and invest in the characters who constantly branch off into other team comps. Make sense? So in that case, pulling Kokomi, very smart choice. Pulling Yelan, very smart choice. Pulling Raiden Shogun, smart choice. Pulling Nahida, smart choice. Pulling Ayato's probably even a good choice, right? Pulling Ito in that scenario is not a smart choice, because like if you know you're somebody who gets bored of things quick and you invest into Ito, well, that character is just gonna sit in a storage room collecting dust for a year, 2 years. Hydro is a very, very, very solid element to invest into for people who are not sure what the hell they want to do with their account yet. Panda X6 says, if I only have Ayato, do I still get Yelan? If you wait, Ayato is your only 5-star. Like that's it. That's your only 5-star. If you only have Ayato, only Ayato and Kazuha. Bro, get right to shot. Sorry, I don't mean to be offensive, but I would suggest, if you only have Ayato and Kazuha, go for Raiden Shogun. Oh, I have no Primos. Oh no. No. Do you have Xingqiu? Do you have Toma? Probably not. Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah, you can try the Toma comp with Hutao. It's doable. You can pull for Hutao, and if you're lucky, you'll pull for some like if Xingqiu's on the banner, you might pull for some Xingqiu comp. It sucks because I know the 4-stars on that banner is gonna be absolute doo-doo water. Oh, I think, like, don't get me wrong, Yelan is a great character for you to pick up, but like your Yelan is seriously going to find it difficult. Yeah, no, it's like pulling Yelan means you're likely gonna suffer in the short term, but you'll be thankful in the long term. So Panda, here's another thing for you to consider. Are you willing to suffer in the short term for long-term gains? Because if you pull Hutao now, there's a scenario where, let's say 3-4 patches down the line, you drop Hutao and you end up playing another character. Let's say you pick up Raiden Shogun in the future, then you play Ayato comp and Raiden Shogun comp, then your Hutao is just sitting there awkwardly, not really doing much. Right? So like this is the thing. Are you okay to suffer in the short term, meaning pulling Yelan, but you're likely going to feel much weaker now, but then you're going to feel much better down the line, and you will realize you haven't really wasted much. Or you want the power now and get Hutao and be strong and be, smashing through content, but in the long run, you might feel like that Hutao wasn't as worth it as you originally thought it was. Katsi Manga says, me with Nahida suffered for the long run. Really? ESDs, how different is Xingqiu from Yelan to supporting Raiden? Is it worth all the primos, or should I just save for another future banner? The thing is, if you're, like I said, if you're pulling Yelan to just replace Xingqiu in a Raiden support team, like, you're really not putting her to the full potential. Panda says, I think I need something now. Okay, then. I think getting Hutao is probably going to give you a more transformative experience than pulling Xingqiu. ASDF says, I don't have Xingqiu right now. That is very awkward. Wow. ASD, you probably need to get ASD, what's the units you have? Like, what are the 5 stars you're running with? Jieshi Huanggua says, my Klee is collecting dust right now. Bro, I haven't busted out my Klee for a workout session until today's for like the last 6 months. Like, when I was doing the Klee animation cancel thing earlier, that was the first time my Klee came out of the story room for so long. ASD says only Raiden and Jean. Ooh. And my main party isn't very good. Yeah, Dimmas says, relax, you can choose 4-star Liu later and choose wisely. Yeah, that's true. You, like, especially for people who, like, ASD and Panda, you two sound like you're relatively new players to the game, which, first and foremost, congratulations. Second, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll admit it first, I'm probably not the best person when it comes to meta advice, but I've played these characters enough to know that how it will benefit you guys in short and long term. ASD, Yelan will be worth it for you over Hutao because you seem like you're in much more dire need of a solid foundational character, whereas Panda needs power to progress and to just enjoy the game in general, right? Like, sure, you could be planning 20 steps ahead for your account 3 years in the future, but if you're suffering the next like 2.5 years, what's the point? What's the point? So for you, if you have Raiden already, picking up a Yelan is going to feel pretty damn good. Truth to Real says, I was thinking about pulling for Hutao and Yelan, but I get bored pretty easily. So should I get Yelan and Raiden since they can go in a lot of teams? Yo, listen, okay? If you are somebody who gets bored very easily, let's say you can't really stick around with like one thing, I don't really... Where's my Hutao? I was like, I don't think you want to invest into Hutao because not only does Hutao takes time to grow on you, like I will say more than 50% of the people who starts playing Hutao, like without knowing anything about her, you just get it, you never played her, you've only seen other people play her. I'll tell you, when you see other people play this character, she seems like a hell out of a lot of fun. When you see other people like messing around like the huge numbers and like just dashing around the field and doing all this crazy stuff, she seems like a lot of fun. But when you try to play it for the first little while, you're gonna hate your life. You're gonna be like, why did I even pull for this character? Like, it was like such a bad decision. But she grows on you. After some time, it gets more and more fun, more and more comfortable. But if you're somebody who feels like after about a month, you're already getting sick because you're constantly just dashing around, right? You're constantly dashing around. You're constantly doing this. So how much do you think you're going to really enjoy that? So I don't think most people are going to be able to stick on a character like Hutao. So yeah, long like that was a long answer. The short answer, truth to real, is that yeah, Yelan and Raiden probably for you are going to be much better characters because Yelan eventually, like truth to real, if you eventually play this game long enough, Yelan will circle back, and from a support DPS as at higher constellations, she circles back to being an on-field DPS. And then for Raiden Shogun, she goes from being like a very solid, like well-rounded unit to being one of the best like on-field hyper carries as well. Like these characters suddenly fit like more than just one role, and they really open doors for you to potentially new and strong team comps. And I said this when Yelan first came out, that she's going to be the centerpiece of a lot of future meta team comps. And so far, I've been right about that. People at the time were saying, like, you're just overhyping her. You're baiting people to summon before Sumeru. And I didn't even know at the time they were going to change the Hydro Resonance. I had no idea. Is Yelan good for replacing Xingqiu in Raiden National? Like, yeah, she's a great substitute. If you prefer Xingqiu in another team comp, yeah, Yelan's a great substitute for Xingqiu. She adds more damage. Both for like instances of damage, like burst damage because of her elemental skill, if you have her really cracked out, as well as just like overall damage. Yelan is a better offensive option than Xingqiu in all scenarios. Xingqiu is like a great hybrid and a 4-star option. Until we can really take advantage of Xingqiu's faster hydro applications, I don't really see Xingqiu being like incredibly more viable over Yelan. Yelan is a 5-star, remember. Like, she is supposed to feel better than Xingqiu. And in a game like Genshin Impact, where offense is much more important of a metric than defense, she, in most cases, even edges out Xingqiu. In most cases. Katsi Manga says, I'm glad Yelan is on the second half because I low-key want her. Yeah, Yelan's gonna be pullable with your Chinese New Year freebies. Of course, they're not going to make Alhaitham in the second half. Alhaitham is here to siphon your wallet. Hutao and Yelan are here to make you have FOMO and post buyer's remorse. Listen, it doesn't matter which one you get. Most people will second guess themselves and doubt themselves even after pulling these characters, and then you're gonna like be tormenting yourself, like, oh, did I make the right choice? What if I pulled the other one? What if I pulled Staff of Homa for my Xiangling as opposed to the Aqua? But you just gotta understand is if you build around your decision, then you did not make a wrong decision. Okay, you only made a wrong decision when you yourself admits to making a wrong decision. You have to take this to the grave. If you decide to go with Hutao, you better just, it's better off to just tell yourself, I made the right choice and I'm gonna build her and make her work, as opposed to being like, I screwed up big time. Zenpai says, I got Hutao and Yelan, so the weapon banner is a win-win for me. Yeah, like for people who have both of these characters, the weapon banner is so damn juicy. No Copium says, Walrus, his Sino is underwhelming, but I recommend you try him with the Gilded build and with Nahida, Xingqiu, and Zhongli team. He seems very good. Oh, no. I never... Okay. People gotta understand, when I say Sino was underwhelming, I don't really mean he's underperforming. Okay? When I say Sino was disappointing to me because he was released at a time when he wasn't even able to get to his full potential because you needed Nahida. And on top of that, when Nahida came out, I was playing him on someone else's account because like at the time I was so done with collecting beetles. So like I was playing him on another person's account, and yeah, he felt much better, stronger, more consistent, but at the same time, he didn't really wow me away. I wasn't like, wow, like what a big difference. It was just like, okay, yeah, his ceiling has gotten better. He's much more comfortable to play, but comparatively to other DPS characters, he's still just like a DPS. He's a great solid option, don't get me wrong, and I'm sure a lot of people are gonna feel like he's a lot of fun and worthwhile. But to me, it was just like, okay, it's like it's kind of like Hutao, right? Like it's an option. It's an option that if you like that playstyle, fast paced, and timing his elemental skill with the mark on screen and getting that like those electric numbers and this fast paced on field hyper carry playstyle, he's amazing. And he did feel pretty good afterwards. But it's just to me, he felt like it was a little underwhelming in the terms of a character being, I don't know. Like, am I trying to say that I wish he was power creeping a little bit? Yeah, man. Like, I really do feel like Sino should have been at least on Hutao's level, DPS wise. I think Sino per burst infusion should be able to deal up to like 1,000,000 damage. I feel like he should. Am I wrong in saying that? We have great carries in cryo category. We have great carries in Geo, even now like Anemo. But Electro hyper carry, apart from Raiden C2, like I would just want another C0 character who can compete with the best, I wanted Sino to compete with the best. I wanted him to be like a premier example of what a hyper carry could be. Like, disappointing. He's just like an Ayato. He's like better than Ayato, worse than Hutao, worse than Ito, in my opinion, as well. His lord made him seem like he should hit hard. Yeah, it's just like I expected this character to be setting a new standard for what a hyper carry could be, especially with Nahida. Don't get me wrong, he's not weak. He gets a job done, but that's it. He gets the job done. Right, like, does that make sense? I don't know if I'm conveying my, I don't know if I'm conveying my disappointment properly. Is that while he gets a job done, at the same time, I feel like he could do so much more. And I wish he was just power creeping a little bit. I feel like he should have been better than Zhao. He should have been better than Ayato. He should have been better than Ito. Should have been better than Ito. Ceiling wise, he should have a higher ceiling than Ito, maybe even locked behind, I don't know, constellations if you want. But I think he should have been like a character that redefined what a hyper carry was capable of, while sitting somewhere close to Hutao, if not sharing the same level of damage output as Hutao. That would have been like wow, like amazing. But he falls just short of like the top tier characters, and now he's like, yes, he's better than Ayato, but he's like still hovering in the same category. It's like, well, you got Ayato, you got like Tighdari, you're getting Al-Haitham, you have like Ito, you have all these characters. So then what's the point? Like, a lot of people would say like, why do you want more damage? What you gonna do with all that damage? But it's not about the damage, man. It's about these characters and tying them with the lore and like fantasizing about these like amazing, fantastical units who should be like they wield the power of electricity and a spear, and they dress like an Anubis, and they hunt people for a living, for God's sake. They hunt criminals. They hunt like they're like the boogeyman, dude. Like, this guy was the boogeyman. They send him after you, and it doesn't matter what you do, he will get you. He's the boogeyman, and then the boogeyman is like dealing similar damage to some aristocrat who has a diet consisting 50% of bubble tea. Like, he does the same thing as that guy. Like, it's kind of crazy, is it not? So of course I'm gonna be a little disappointed, because I was expecting him to do more than that. Yeah, he has a title of a general, right? He's the Mahamatra. Mahamatra's out here looking like he's malnourished, dealing similar damage. Like, he could transform into like an electric Anubis, whereas Ayato just freaking rain water shards from like in a small area with this like Xing sword, and somehow his bubble tea in his sleeve is not even jumbled up. Like, the guy's doing similar damage to you, man. The guy spends most of his time as a politician, for God's sakes. Is I know I'm not being reasonable, but at the same time, we're playing a video game, a fantastical RPG game, does reason really have to be at the top of our priorities? I just wish this man could have been stronger. Even though extra strength doesn't mean anything in this game. But I just wanted him to be stronger. Ayato is not bad solo DPS. Yeah, solo, but Hutao is better. Hutao was better. I think if you are the Mahamatra, you're like the general, you're like the boogeyman, should you not at least be on par with a funeral parlor director? Hutao, for a lack of a better word, Hutao burns bodies for a living. Okay? Hutao burns bodies for a living. And we got a guy who hunts after like probably some of the most worst criminals in an entire region, and he can't even. He's on par with D-Look. That is, you see, that's disgusting. That's disgusting to me. I'm not frustrated. Don't get me wrong. I'm not frustrated. I'm disappointed more than frustrated because there's so many DPS options. It's like, why should I get hung up on one character? Yes, did I want this character? Did I invest into this character? Financially, yeah. I pulled his weapon, for God's sakes, man. Like, that should tell you more than enough. Like, but in the end, I didn't want to build him up because I was just so disappointed at his ceiling. Like, people are like, oh, but Walrus, your Sino was... Yeah, but I've played a level 90 Sino C0R1 Sino. I played it. And so I know what my Sino is going to end up like. And I'm just like, why bother then? Like, what's the point? If that's his ceiling, if that's his potential, why should I even bother? Like, what's the point? You know? He's fun now. Like, even at level 70, with a level 70 weapon, he's fun. I get to play him how I want. His synergies, I'm not lacking any synergies. You know what I mean? All his synergy is here. It's just his ceiling is lower because I don't have the stats to back it up. But even if I max it out, it doesn't change anything. To me, it doesn't. Tignari's better and he's on normal. Yeah, like Tignari feels like, God damn it. I feel so, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. How many more times I gotta say? A character like Tignari just feels so much more fluid and he feels more... Like, he feels more powerful. You know, I don't know. I've never done the math and the calculation, but Tignari honestly feels like he's more powerful than Sino. But then again, lore-wise, Tignari was a freaking genius. Right? He chose to be a Forest Ranger. It's not like he sucked and he was, you know, forced into it. He chose to be a Forest Ranger, even though he's like a very well decorated scholar or like a student from the academia, right? So lore wise, like yeah, this man is stacked. But come on, dude, come on. You're telling me the Mahamatra is on par with like some genius scholar? If Hoyo followed lore strength, who would be the strongest? Right, maybe Raiden, and then like what? Zhongli is gonna be insanely broken as well. I heard like I made a poll asking like Diluc versus Keqing lore wise. People say Diluc is an absolute beast in the lore. People were saying like lore wise, Diluc is just like a madman for a human, of course. Yeah, and then after the Archons, the Adepti would come in. All the freaking politicians, like people like Ayaka, people like people like Ayato, these people are gonna be like bottom feeders, you know, like people like Klee. Klee is probably gonna be like so damn weak. Yeah, Diluc is really... Oh, don't mind if I do. Just casually having a C4 Diluc chilling around. Hmm. Klee is pretty strong on it. Okay, the thing is, you guys are talking about feats. I'm talking about if you threw Klee and frickin' I don't know, threw Klee and Ningguang in a pit. First and foremost, there's a lot of legal issues with that, right? Child abuse, blah blah blah. But if that weren't the case, if you threw Klee and Ningguang or Klee and Xingqiu or Klee and all these other characters into like a pit and have them fight to the death, she's probably losing 9 out of 10 times. Klee needs prep. Okay, Klee, if you want Klee to be strong, she needs prep. She needs like advantages. She needs to surprise attack people. She needs to have the upper hand. Like Ningguang can probably knock Klee out with 1 stone. Like the fight starts, Ningguang just shifts off some geo rocks and goes like boom, and Klee's out. Just saying. You're not like nobody's gonna sit here and argue with me saying Klee is gonna somehow take down Ningguang. Like, oh, what are some rocks compared to an entire mountain? But Klee needs bombs, Ningguang needs rocks. Yeah. Klee may win Diona. Maybe. But the thing is, Klee needs to throw her bombs, whereas Diona can shield. And Diona can shoot arrows at Klee. Like, imagine if Klee got shot by an arrow. She's done as well. Ningguang just Jade Screen and sips tea. Yeah, Jade Screen blocks projectiles. I completely forgot about that. None of Klee's bombs are gonna make it through the Jade Screen. You know what? For the next couple of weeks, I'm just gonna continue pitting characters against each other in lore strength. Like Xingqiu versus Chongyun, lore strength. Who's gonna win in a 1v1? You know what? Let's do that right now, chat. Xingqiu versus Chongyun, lore strength. Who wins that fight? I'm gonna do it in my community post. Xing Chu vs Chongyun, lore strength. Who wins in a 1v1? Text poll. Xingqiu and Chongyun. Okay. Let's see it. Let's see who wins. D-Look beat Kaching though. So let's see. Chongus. Xingqiu got the brains, but Chongyun has the strength. ASC question: Raiden, Xingqiu, Yelan, and Xiangling. How viable is this comp? Xingqiu, Yelan, and Xiangling. I mean, you just drop Xingqiu or Yelan for a Bennett. That's an insane comp. I'm not gonna say that's a weak comp, but like, the problem is your Xiangling is gonna have energy problems. Okay, that's the first thing I'm gonna tell you. And let me tell you, a character like Xiangling with energy issues is gonna be detrimental to how you play that composition. You don't have Bennett. Ooh. You know what? If you have a Sucrose, replace Xiangling with a Sucrose. That's probably a better team. Because you don't have a healer in that team. You know what I mean? If you don't have a healer, piling Xiangling on that is probably going to be like a big problem because she's going to become a liability. You might as well just double down on damage and just bulldoze your way through. In my opinion. Throw a Sucrose in there and just bulldoze your way through. Save Xiangling for... I mean, without Bennett, it's very difficult to use Xiangling unless you have very well-built energy regen. I don't know. What 4-star complements Hutao the best besides national, OG, units, fun, good, wise? Thanks. Like, if you want to play like some really weird off-meta Hutao teams, 4 stars that may complement Hutao. Like, yeah, like Toma does. Like, I don't know how viable is like a melt Hutao. Like, right, Kaya, um, um, anybody who can apply like Rosaria, Toma, Rosaria, Amber, Beidou. Yeah, like these are all characters that can work well with her. Ganyu, but Ganyu's a 5-star. Like, I mean, I say work well, but they seem like I think Rosaria probably is gonna be like a somewhat fun idea to play around with. Um, Apart from that, Kaya, I would say maybe you can try Sucrose with like shred the enemy pyro, the Viridescent Sucrose. I don't know, but then the thing is, it doesn't really work because when you have them in Sucrose ult, Hu Tao can't charge attack them, so that doesn't really work. Beidou seems like a pretty interesting one for overload, but the thing is, you're gonna be dashing, charging, attacking these enemies, and they're gonna be like bouncing up and down. Who knows? You might have fun. Like it's gonna be like a shared DPS environment. But in that case, I don't know. These are like some weird off meta. Like don't take them like gospel. They might not work, but these are interesting things you can experiment with. Can I show my Hutao stats? Sure. I just need to make sure I have the right artifacts. I do not have the right artifacts. See? I run my Hutao with wait. Yeah, this should be my Hutao. 45 to 31. Physical DPS Hutao. Kika chat. No. I still run the Crimson Witch with her. I never bothered to refarm a new set. I think I might have some good pieces, but who cares at this point? She's so damn strong already. 94 pyro, 45% crit rate. It's probably a little low. Ideally wanted higher. How much does she hit with a Vape Xing Chu? We can try it out. In the overworld, probably like what? I'm guessing 50, 60k? I'm guessing. Okay, I don't know. What is a monster who can tank the hit is my question. Or tank a couple of hits. You know what, let's go into Tartaglia, my man. Where is he? Oh yeah. Tartaglia is like the easiest thing for us to bully. Do you always stay at 40% crit rate? Yeah, like I've hovered around 40%. I'm okay fishing for a couple decent crits. Primo is better. Yeah, but that dude is so far away. How much was that? 65k. That's okay for like overworld is fine. I didn't even look at the numbers. This thing is dying a little too fast. Bro, this guy, dude, this guy trolls me so often. You had enough fun yet? Dude, he dashed long enough for my thing to come back. How much was that? Yeah, it's around 60, 70k. 68k in the overworld. Which is fine. You get into Abyss, it's probably gonna be like 80k. Best boss of test is Primo. Wait, PMA boss. What is PMA? Please show your Yelan 2 to keep an ideal reference. Right. If you want to see Yelan, Yelan just pumps out more damage. Oh, perpetual mechanic array. Right. There's that thing. That thing can tank much more. Where is that thing though? Oh, yeah, to get to that boss, I have to do this. Do you have to do a quest to unlock that? I don't remember why I don't have that unlocked, but put out portal waypoint. I don't remember why I don't have it unlocked. I remember there might be a puzzle down there or something. It's a quest. Yeah, yeah, screw that. It can stay unlocked. It can stay locked. Uh. I mean, I'm not spending much time this way either, right? It's the same amount of time. See, I'm here. I'm good. Boom. Give that nice pose. Oh my god, it didn't activate. $70. Oh my god, it's dying. No! Stop! Stop your dying this instance. That was like 75k. Where is it? Okay. No! Six. Yeah, Xingqiu is doing. Oh my gosh, this thing is dying so damn fast. I gotta stop. I have to stop. I can't keep hitting it. But you guys see, 60. It's like a 15,000 damage difference, give or take. Probably like gonna be more exaggerated in the Spiral Abyss. Do you have C1? Yeah, I have C1. I have C1. So it's like I can be much lazier with my stamina. But yeah, like you're looking at like what, 75k. And remember, like my characters aren't really built my characters aren't really built extremely well. I do like okay investment to the point where they feel strong enough. Like I'm not saying I only do the bare minimum, but they're strong enough. I've seen free to plays. Like this is the funny thing, right? Like, I've seen free to plays Hutao hit much harder than mine. I've seen free to plays Hutao who can consistently hit like 100k. But that's because like they've hyper invested in their Hutao, right? And they also have the Staff of Homa. Yes, they're free to play, but they have a C0 Hutao with a Staff of Homa, but they hit harder than my Hutao. So it really depends on how much you want to invest into these characters. 45% crit rate. Yep, I'm also fishing for crits a lot of the time as well. But she hits so fast that I don't really notice it. It feels more like 60% in my opinion. But yeah, it's quite a bit difference if I crit or not crit. Zenpai says me chilling with 7243. Yeah, like you see, there's people who have way better stats than me. Look at my artifacts, man. Look. Okay, this is pretty decent. Like this is kind of yikes. This one could be better. This one's pretty decent. This one's pretty nice. And this one's pretty decent too. I think like these two are things that I can really work on. These three pieces are things that I can work on, right? So there's a lot more improvements that I could do. And depending on how I want to play, I can also play Hutao with the other set, the Shimenawa set. which could also be incredibly powerful. Which is better for Hutao, Shimenawa, or Crimson? In my opinion, if you are farming now, go farm for Shimenawa. Like Shimenawa is like good because you can farm Shimenawa and you can farm for for this set as well. Shimenawa is just the superior option right now for relevancy, damage, as well as for efficiency. You can farm for emblem. I say just go for Shimenawa. Just go, man. Don't touch the Pyro domain. I would never suggest anybody, even if the Pyro one was better, it's not going to be better, but that much. And I will still tell people to go farm the Shimenawa. Yeah, but say goodbye to your burst with Shimenawa. No, but the thing is, you can use, because my Zhongli runs Fav, my Fav, after I use my burst, after I use my Hutao's burst, when I switch back to Hutao, because of Yelan and Xingqiu's particles, I oftentimes have more than enough to activate Shimenawa again. Ah! If you are playing Zhongli, I highly suggest you run Zhongli with a Favonius Lance. What a great weapon. Oh, true, you can strongbox for Crimson now. Exactly. Exactly. I think Shimenawa is a much, much better choice overall. Start farming Shimenawa, not just for your Hutao. You can farm it for your Yoimiya. You can farm the, what's the other one called again? I just saw it. Dude, these artifact domain names are just, where is it? No, this is the Kokomi set. My gosh, where is that domain? It's here somewhere. Ah, here it is. Emblem. There you go. Yeah. This set is probably right now the second best. No. It's the best set because Viridescence has kind of dropped in value ever since we got to Sumeru. So I would say this set probably is used by so many good characters. So many good characters. Calvin GA says, well, is that domain only needs simple puzzle to unlock? I suck at puzzles. I'm not going to be bothered. Trust me, man. I'm a different man when I'm dealing with puzzles. No copiums wars. I'm kind of confused by everyone saying Yelan Hutao weapon banner is insane, but isn't Aqua only usable with Yelan? Don't you think it's kind of overhyped? No. I mean, if people are telling you like you have to pull on this banner, you can tell them, you know, like you're crazy. But this weapon can be used by almost all bow DPS options. In fact, I think all bow characters who do DPS can use this weapon, and it's going to be a solid weapon for them. So by that, I think it's not really overselling it. I think it's a very, very powerful weapon to secure for your account. Like one of the best available in the game right now. Same with Savhoma. But I would say only hunt for these weapons if you have these characters. What I mean by that is, like, sure, they're a great weapon to have, but if you don't have Yelan and you don't have Hutao, you're probably not going to take full advantage. For example, this weapon, Staff of Homa. If you, like, who the hell is going to constantly be below 50% HP? Apart from Hutao and maybe Zhao. Right? Like, and Zhao oftentimes is paired with Bennett nowadays. So how are you ever going to activate this ability? Like, sure, you might end up with a Staff of Homa. It's like, wow, Staff of Homa, great stat stick. But you're missing out on half of its passive abilities. So I'd say prioritize the characters. And if you get the characters and have some left over, go for the weapon banner. You're not going to really, really lose out. But it's very unlucky if you get Yelan and then you get Staff of Homa. Right, but what I'm saying is, in the worst case scenario, Xiangling with the Staff of Homa is going to feel insane. Right, Xiangling, but then you're going to have to focus a lot of your resources to getting an energy regen sands. I'm running an attack sands for Xiangling right now because my weapon gives a decent chunk of scout energy recharge, and also run her with Bennett, right? So it's like you have to be able to shift the pieces of your account to plug weaknesses you have for your compositions as well. So be very aware of what you are investing into and what route you go about to invest. The order. Don't pull for. I mean, okay, listen. This is very bad advice, but I'm gonna say it anyways because I know like some people might prefer this way. You might want to pull for the weapon banner first, and whichever weapon you get, then you go for the character. Because listen, it feels terrible if you got Hutao or Yelan, and then you go pull the weapon banner, and you end up getting the other character's weapon. It's very bad advice, but I said it anyways. If you don't mind getting either of them, you're like, you know what? I'm happy with Yelan or Hutao. To save you the headache, you should probably get one of their weapons first, and whichever weapon you get, you should just go get the character. Like, reverse it. Because if you do it the other way around, you get the character, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna go get the Aqua Simulacra, and you end up with the Staff of Homa. Hey, I'm just saying, it's a very, very awkward position to be in. Yeah, it gets Primordial Jade Spear, even worse, right? So maybe, just maybe, don't tell him Walrus said it. But maybe just get the weapon first. If that's only if you are okay with either or of these characters. Like, you know what? I will be okay with Yelan. I'll be okay with Hutao. I'm fine getting either of them. If you're truly fine, go for the weapon first. Go for the weapon first, right? Go for the weapon, then go for the characters. Because now you guarantee you get both of them. Is PJWS good on Hutao? Yeah. Like it's a pretty decent alternative. It's a good DPS weapon. Pretty decent alternative. Stanley said that's what I did with Raiden and Ayato. Yeah. I'm saying like I often don't want to put this in a video because people would rip my head off. Like, Walrus, that's such bad advice. But I'm just saying, if you're okay getting both of these characters, if you're truly okay, then why is it not okay to go for the weapons first? Anyways, we are way overdue for this live stream. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. If you enjoyed the live stream, make sure to hit a like, subscribe, and tune into future live streams. We're always constantly talking about things. This time we're very like meta focused and talking about the intricacies of these characters and answering questions about you guys, with you guys when it comes to which character to pull and what decisions to make. But in future live streams, we also talk about like Genshin. Sometimes we talk about drama, which people don't really like, but other times we talk about Hoyoverse and their business tactics, their psychological tactics, and how they get you to spend money. Other times we talk about community discussions, community back and forth. We sometimes analyze CN data, Abyss usage, stuff like that. We talk about everything Genshin. Sometimes we even talk about news and like predictions for the future, which, surprise, like, I don't know why, but I've been on a hot streak. So I hope to see you guys next time, and very, very solid next patch. So good luck, guys. Start saving right now. Maybe you can get a part-time job just for 2 weeks. You can quit after 2 weeks. Get a part-time job. Work the weekends. What's not to like? Cloud says, I'm glad I found your channel. Thank you. Frozen Spaces, thank you. No, you're welcome for responding to my text. I always watch all your videos, even I'm sleeping during your streams. I watch it later. Thank you. Again, don't take my words as gospel. I am only one person. I always advocate for you to like cross-reference things with if you truly want the statistically, mathematically the best thing for your account. Theory crafters are always a great resource. I know theory crafters are not very fond of the way I do things, but I always respect the way they're able to kind of mathematically work everything out. But also take that with a grain of salt, because if you're not a god gamer, you're not a good gamer. Oftentimes you're not going to be able to replicate things nearly to their testings. Okay. that's everything. Get out of here. Go enjoy the rest of your day, evening. Start grinding. And I'll see you guys next time. All right. Till then, urge you all to stay safe. Peace, peace. Bye-bye.